I'll do a waiver pre-recorded where it's like here's some like.
should have been, might have been, the face mask.
What is going on, y'all? Oh no.
What's
Nick,
good? What's good?
Your video's tiny. Let me fix that. Hold on.
Oh no.
There we go.
Am I good?
Yeah, but now you're blacking me out.
Well, that seems rude of me.
Yeah, we got technical difficulties, y'all. What's going on?
Okay.
What's new, right?
Sorry. Yeah, we're also. I'm also in another location again, like third time in 3 podcasts or something like that. So, or third time in the 4th. So, our setup is obviously a little is kind of temporary. Oh no, I see that now. Now I'm just now looking at it.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Oh, but yep. Oh no. All right. Well, we're getting there. But welcome to week 10. Got a I feel like this was a good week.
No, it wasn't.
No, this was a down week.
Nothing bad, technically catastrophically bad happened.
No.
So it feels like it's a less exciting week, but I mean,
right.
From a fantasy perspective, looking at the leagues that I was in, there was
only
like one team in every league that had a week that went above projection. This was a really bad week for if you're looking for explosive fantasy.
Yeah. Some low-scoring games, some surprising outcomes.
Yep.
Yeah. A little weird, but I feel like we mostly got through it unscathed.
Yeah, I mean,
like
we
otherwise.
How about you guys?
Yeah.
How'd you guys make out this week?
How did I feel like we were talking about this on Sunday. I feel like our takes were like less than 50-50.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we got to go back.
We didn't. I'm not going to see. Nobody saw Jordan Howard. We didn't see Jordan Howard doing what Jordan Howard did again. We thought it was going to swing back that way.
Tim Patrick caught a touchdown. Cortland Sutton was a no-show.
There were a couple of narratives that we went the other way on. Chase Edmonds.
Yeah.
We didn't foresee an injury. Oh no. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Darius Toney was like very quiet. Bryan Edwards didn't have a catch, so.
Yeah. That was another one. Bryan Edwards. I particularly was high on Bryan Edwards, and
I mean I liked him as a pick. I said last week. I remember when I did a bit of a breakdown on the Raiders. I said, I'm not starting him yet, but in even the most shallow leagues, he's worth owning, worth grabbing.
Yeah,
off waivers.
Not in season-long leagues anymore. I don't think it's going to be there for him. But
I think he's a safe.
In Dynasty, I think you can. I think that now the buy window opens again. Now the buy window opens again. People are low on him. He is only 22. And everybody compares him, for what it's worth, everybody compares him to Devonta Adams. Devonta Adams didn't break out until 24. So
that's true.
There's sometimes it takes a wide receiver 3 years. Sometimes the Justin Jeffersons don't happen. And sometimes even the year 2 receivers, it just doesn't happen like that.
It takes a little bit of it can take a little bit of time for wide receivers.
With Bryan Edwards. But we got a question in the chat. We got a couple of questions in the chat. Let's start getting to some of these. Theo, what's going on? KC Royals, what's going on? Crumply Heads, hey, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, guys? Formerly Khalid.
Yes. The artist formerly known as Theo. He says, okay, here it is, Tuesday. Who is the rookie this year that is not getting a shot that will get a breakout next year?
So
we were deliberating about this a little bit. We saw this when the countdown was going on.
We have a couple of names that we kind of that we feel like are fair to be excited about next year, but like it may not necessarily be consistent for them this year as rookies. John, you mentioned Nico Collins, who I like that one.
Foremost, you've been a fan of his. You've said it vocally in this pod before, and on a couple of live stream for the past few weeks. He caught 3 of 3 targets, so he's been reliable, even though we're not going to see
low end, but yeah,
the usage that we want to see out of him. But I think it comes next season. I think it does.
Yeah, I mean,
so if you're looking for a wide receiver who's not producing this year, Nico Collins, I think he will produce next year. A little bit higher on the list.
Still
you
not
mentioned
like
Rondale Moore.
Yeah, I was just because with Nico, there's still like not that much competition ahead of him. I think he just needs to get a little bit of experience. So
and for what
Nico's
it's worth,
a good
Brandon
pick.
Cooks is I think he signed one more season there for like 15
which would be
mil,
good.
And if they want, they can like cut him if they wanted to go that route, because the Texans are weird, and I mean there is a world in which Nico Collins is their number 1 next season, because they can cut Brandon Cooks with minimal dead cap. So.
Or if they can get anything, if they can get anything for him in a trade in the offseason.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then, I think Rondale Moore. I mean, he started the year off on fire, and he's still involved. Obviously, he's way cooled off recently. Probably not even necessarily a guy you have to roster in 10 and 12 team leagues. But he's probably a holdover in some leagues just because, he had a big week 2. He had a decent week. He had one more decent week, like week 5. But outside of that, it's been kind of quiet for him recently. So he's not a hold this year. But especially for dynasty purposes, I mean, AJ Green might not be there again next year.
I don't expect him to be. I don't think they drafted Rondale Moore to keep him a 4th on the depth chart, for 2 seasons.
I think he has a good chance to ascend the depth chart. And for what it's worth, DeAndre Hopkins is still in that top 10 conversation, but he's older now and is accumulating injuries. He missed a game this week. That's not par for the course for DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins suits up. So obviously, we're going day to day, and I think that's the exact diagnosis that Cliff Kingsbury gave him after the game, is that Hopkins is day to day. So that would seem to mean that he's trending in the right direction for week 10, but he's going to be 30 soon. So Rondale Moore, attached with his role attached to a guy like Kyler, I think he's got a real shot to ascend next year. So Theo, if you're looking to try to trade, if you could get him for like a low 2nd round pick or something like that, I mean, I think that would be fine.
I mean, if as an owner of him, I wouldn't be selling for a 2nd round pick, but if you can get him, go for it.
That's right. Sure. Somebody might not want to do that, but the numbers aren't there right now, so the opportunity is there.
And I believe Rondale Moore has a really, really low breakout age, which is something I like in wide receivers.
Yes, he did.
I believe his breakout age is actually comparable to DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins at an 18.2
there you
breakout
go.
age. So I think Rondale's about around there. But
the younger you are, that's a good indicator. And right, he's still only 21 years old. He's only going to continue to get better. I think he's got a bright future. So those are some 2 guys. I'll be honest, I off the top of my head, there's not really a running back that stands out right now. Like the default might be Trey Sermon, but I don't necessarily know if I want to go out and acquire Trey Sermon, even for the fact that it could be pennies on the dollar. And the Sermon owner might not want to do that anyway, because they might feel like, well, I'm not going to get anything for him. I might as well just hang on to him.
Right. Yep.
That feels like that would be a conversation that I feel like goes nowhere.
Yeah, you might be giving up too much based off of where he was probably drafted this past season. And I mean, the high hopes that people still probably have for him. You might be giving up too much for what the return will actually end up being. With him on your team, he might just continue to be what he has been thus far this season. We really don't know.
Yeah. Right.
But at tight end, we wanted to give you go through all the positions. At quarterback, we really don't think there is one for this season. Maybe not
they're getting their opportunities. Like Trey Lance is the only one, but
a rookie who has a breakout next year, I don't see it. But I'm still standing by Kellen Mond as a quarterback prospect. 3rd round draft capital for what that's worth. Not high for a quarterback, obviously, but I mean, he plays for a good organization who typically makes the right personnel moves and typically finds late gems in the draft. So
quarterbacks come out in the 3rd round, or quarterbacks can emerge from the 3rd round.
Russell Wilson, Dak, Derek Carr, those guys weren't they all 3rd round picks?
The guy who he could replace, Kirk Cousins, was a 4th rounder. So I mean, not wild.
And at tight end, honestly, man, I told Nick, Adam Troutman.
Mm-hmm. His opportunity is there right now, but it's just not. It's not the year.
The offense is a mess.
Yeah, it's not.
The offense is a mess, but the profile is still there. he's getting more on-field work. Tight end position is one of the hardest positions to come into as a rookie and succeed. Not too many can do it.
Or a young player in general.
Right. We were expecting Adam Troutman to come in as a second-year player and be one of the best tight ends in the league. That was he was one of the sleepers.
Yeah, he was everyone's favorite sleeper.
It didn't happen. Maybe we have to wait 3 years for the Adam Troutman breakout. That's
right. That doesn't. Yeah, it didn't happen this year. That doesn't mean it won't happen. He's gonna be dirt cheap next year. He was going like 10th, 11th round this year in a lot of best balls that I saw. That's gonna be down like at least 4 rounds.
If you can get him as your depth wide receiver, because Juwan Johnson, he hasn't been doing anything since like the 3rd game of the season, and even then he was never a highly used player. It was always Adam Troutman leading the snap share by a lot. So I'm still not all the way out on Adam Troutman. I think the breakout...
No, it'll be a great discount next year.
We might have predicted the breakout a year too early.
Year too early. And that happens. There were a lot of people that were in on Troutman this year. He's going to be faded next year. Could be a good opportunity to pounce.
Yeah, but we hope that answered your question, Theo. Thanks for answering it. I know you were.
Thanks for bringing it back up.
Yeah, I know you wanted an answer to that on Saturday or Sunday morning. And
here, I got one real quick, and then we can move on. Mm-hmm. Jacob Harris, who's a guy that you profiled, he tore his ACL. That was like I guess that was maybe one of the bigger injuries. Do you try to go after him for pennies on the dollar?
He's not somebody that I'm expecting to break out for like 3 years. So if you're willing to wait on him, the ceiling is Darren Waller. Athletically, the ceiling for Jacob Harris in the organization with the quarterback that he has, the ceiling is Darren Waller. So if you can buy somebody who just tore an MCL and an ACL I think he's a little bit up there in age. I do believe he's
you're gonna be waiting. You'll be waiting 5-6 years for that to happen, probably, if it happens at all.
I think it's like a 3-year thing, 3 or 4 year thing, because you look at the shelf life of what Higbee is in that organization, and I think we still have a long time to go, and I think they're just gonna chill with Jacob Harris back there because they don't need to rush him out there. But there's gonna come a time in the next 3 years when all of their weapons will be old outside of Van Jefferson and Jacob Harris.
There you go.
So, yeah, I like that one. But
I want to just
wait on, but that's like a you gotta wait.
That's deep wait. You're deep. You are deep waiting. Got it. All right. But okay, we can now move on.
Yeah, let's get back to week 10 and what happened in week 9 and some of these free agents who might be out there. Let's get to KC Royals questions. Thoughts on Jordan Howard?
Go figure. Right. I'm not sure that he's not. I don't think we can trust him for too much longer. Right. Miles Sanders is expected to come back in the next couple of weeks. But if you're in a pinch,
he's played himself into a permanent role in this offense. No,
I'm not sure that he has. He may have, but like Boston Scott still got snaps. Gainwell got the touchdown. This honestly, development might spell the worst news for Sanders. This might just be an absolutely disgusting, gross 4-man committee. Maybe Sanders still gets most of the touches, but it might be still frustrating with him. So
this
Howard
could also be a situation where we saw it last night with David Montgomery. The running back comes back from injury, and it's back to Khalil Herbert is relegated to the sideline, basically.
Could happen.
Back. Like we didn't foresee that happening. That's another prediction that we got wrong. We were expecting Herbert to continue to.
We thought Herbert would be the 1A.
Right. He's not. He's the 2. And
right. The difference is with that, though, is the Bears were giving Montgomery more work than the Eagles were giving to Sanders.
But not more snaps. The snaps.
Not more snaps. Not more. You're right. Yes, you're right. Not more snaps.
There's literally the same, and it was trending towards Sanders being utilized actually more than David Montgomery over the last 3 weeks that they were both healthy.
Okay. So
usage, yes. Usage on the field in terms of touches, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Montgomery got a little bit more
snaps,
work.
Sanders was out there for 70+% of snaps, and David Montgomery Had not been.
More like 55, 60% or something like that for Montgomery.
65, yeah. Not quite into that 70% threshold.
So, we could be looking at a situation where Howard is viable one more week, maybe two. But like then that's going to probably be it. So he's an RB3 if you need a back, and he's, what looks to be the most realistic option that you can pick up on the wire. But I wouldn't expect, I can't predict any type of relevance for him beyond the next 2 weeks. No, me neither. So. But this is a backfield I'm trying to stay away from entirely. It was one that I was kind of high on given the schedule moving forward. But yeah,
the concerns on offense, plus now what looks like to be at least a three-headed committee, even when Sanders comes back,
it's kind of gross. Yeah, it's going to be anybody's guess on like who hits pay dirt on any given week.
And I have Miles Sanders like everywhere, and I'm just kind of disappointed with the whole situation. But let's move on to Crumply Head's question. He says, Eno, Amir, Devonta need to start one. Lost Chase Edmonds, and Booker may not play.
Yeah, I mean, so there was a report on Sleeper that Eno might get some more run this week, which would make sense, but Chase Edmonds has been highly volatile. So I'm not necessarily sure that just because Chase Edmonds is gone, that Eno will be viable. Like, James Conner might get a ton of work or whatever he can handle. Eno will mix in.
I think what we were expecting for Jeff Wilson Jr. last week is what we should be expecting for Eno this week.
Like 10 touches.
5 to 10 touches. And hoping for a touchdown.
Okay.
But given the way that they've used James Conner, I don't think that there's much hope for a touchdown for Eno. So you're really looking at 5 to 10 touches here. I would be really surprised if he got more. If he has more at the end of the week, it will probably be because James Conner got injured. That's where your value lies with picking up Eno Benjamin. It's that maybe this Chase Edmonds, and I'm not sure how long Chase Edmonds is expected to be out.
It's a high ankle sprain, so you know how those are.
Okay, there we go. I wasn't sure quite exactly what the injury designation was, but that's not good news. What's that? 4 to 6 weeks? High ankle sprain?
Looking like a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, so that's where your value lies in Eno Benjamin. James Conner was never the healthiest back year to year in Pittsburgh. We could see a situation in which Benjamin does play RB1 snaps for this team for one of the 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah, that, maybe.
Chase is out. Again, we're not counting on injury, but I'd want him over Amir and Devonta on my roster for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, he's maybe attached to the most high octane of these offenses, but Tennessee is no slouch themselves. Devonta might have his chances. He got 5 carries, but he averaged almost 6 yards a carry on those carries. So not fantastic work, but for being, elevated in his first game with the team, elevated from the practice squad to the active roster, getting 5 carries, turning it into almost 30 rushing yards. That's not gonna wow you up for fantasy purposes.
Especially when Adrian Peterson rushed 20 times for what? Or 10 times for 21 yards.
It was not effective work by Adrian Peterson.
Minimal yards, yeah. So I'm still going Eno, then Devonta, then Amir.
I mean, this is going to have to be. This might come into a little bit more focus by Saturday, because it is a start-sit question. I think it's between Eno and Devonta, but it's a little early for me to make that final call. But one of those two. If you're trying to figure out who to pick up and then play, Eno has the clearest path to playing time for at least the next 3 to 4 weeks. But Devonta, I'll just say Devonta did look good in limited work.
That is true. I will concede that. But he's still my second option there. But
that's fine.
We hope that helps Khalid, the artist formerly known as.
Artist formerly known as.
New Era TV, what's going on? I was offered Devonta Adams for Debo in 12-team dynasty. I have Debo in my 10-man dynasty as well, so I did it. How do you feel?
Okay.
So you received Devonta?
He was offered Devonta for Debo.
For his Debo.
So he traded Debo for Devonta to, I guess, to divvy up your shares. I mean,
just to diversify.
Yeah. I mean, it's a win now move. Like, if you're, do you feel like it's going to be more of a short-term game, right? Like it's a short gain. It's a short-term, not game. It's a short-term gain.
Yeah.
With Adams versus Debo. Adams doesn't have the injury history that Debo does, so like that's an advantage in Adams' pocket. The question is, who's his quarterback next year? But I think he could also walk off from Green Bay if he wanted to. They didn't come to an agreement on a contract.
I do not
extension.
believe so. No, and he's been vocal about saying that he will not take a hometown discount to play with the Packers and to continue to play with that organization. He's been vocal about saying, I'm the best wide receiver in the league and I deserve to get paid.
Yeah, he's gonna get what he wants.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's not going to play with Jordan Love if he has the choice of going elsewhere and playing with basically anybody else based on how Jordan Love has played. There was even a report that Adams was angry at Jordan Love after last game. Did you see that?
Which I didn't, but it's believable. He looked frustrated.
Yeah.
He looked frustrated. So he could follow Rodgers to wherever Rodgers goes.
I wouldn't count it out because
it would be hard. It would be hard for whatever team is doing that to fit them both under the salary cap.
There are teams that have the cap.
Right. Teams can do what they want if they really want to.
And we made a video on where Aaron Rodgers was going to go earlier in the year. So if you're interested in checking that out, I believe that is still relevant, and it does go over cap figures of different teams. So if you want to try to figure out if him and Devonta could go somewhere, check out that video again.
Yeah, if you search Aaron Rodgers on our channel, I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
still relevant.
At the end of the day, New Era TV, it's a win now move, and
the win now move. If you feel like you can win now, like if you can win now or over the next 2 to 3 seasons, fine with it.
It'll be
never opposed to trying to make a win now move.
How this Odell news with him being linked to the Packers kind of shakes out. I don't think Odell going there is going to do anything. It's going to lessen Devonta Adams' value at any. But it'll just be, it'll be an interesting wrinkle in the whole conversation, at least.
I feel like any other year, the Packers would not even entertain the thought. But I think this year they are so desperate they now realize the writing is on the wall. Like, they may do something drastic as far as trying to appease Rodgers and just do it.
Yeah, this is their all-in last year. I think this is just the last year.
So it would hurt if it I don't want to say it would. Could hurt Adams, but Adams is not getting supplanted as the team's wide receiver one.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts Adams all that much.
Nah, honestly, it might. You could argue in ways it'll help him a little bit. Teams can't key on him in the passing game. Not that he's good enough to beat any coverage anyway. But
yeah,
but on the other side, if he's with the right mindset.
I still think win now move. That's a perfect move to make if you're a win now team.
Yeah,
going out there.
If you're a win now move,
getting the wide receiver.
I'm good with it.
The wide receiver.
I'm good with it.
I think he still is the wide receiver one. So go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody in one of our leagues just gave up a pretty fair amount to go get Cooper Kupp because he's the wide receiver one right now in fantasy, even though we don't have him ranked as the wide receiver one.
Nah.
But sometimes you just gotta go all in. And maybe I'm sure giving up Debo didn't feel that great because he is a young stud, but going to get Devonta, can't hate
Getting
that.
Adams pretty cool. Yeah.
Can't hate that. And Casey Royals, no worries.
It's all good.
Garcia, what's going on, bro?
What's up, Anthony?
Time to trade Gibby for Herbert? No.
Patterson
and Gordon and Bolden and AP are my RBs. Adams and Godwin and Woods and Kelsey. What do y'all think? Murray, my quarterback. I would not make that trade.
This is the last kind of straw for Gibson, but like this is the last argument, legitimate like way that you can defend him. We're past the bye week now. So like, yes, if it doesn't come together in the next couple of weeks, it'll be like, okay, this might be a lost season. But this is not the time to make a trade like that, before the first game after the bye week.
And I wouldn't be shooting for Herbert just because we saw what his usage is going to be moving forward with David Montgomery, or at least we got a taste.
Yeah.
If I'm going for a running back right now, I'd be looking at one of the other rookies. I'd be looking at Michael Carter right now, or Elijah Mitchell right now, if you could get that for Gibby. Because Gibby is still a name. I wouldn't be just giving him up for whatever I can get. And I think that's what you're doing if you're giving him up for Khalil Herbert, who has been good. But, I mean, he has also been given an RB1 role for the past 3 weeks. And he had a ceiling of, I think, around 18 points, which, again, is great considering we weren't expecting it. And he came in and lit the world on fire. But it's not like he came in and was getting you 25, 30-point weeks.
Right.
So,
he didn't do enough for the Bears to say, oh, we have our new RB1.
Right.
So
no, I think you're selling low on Gibby. Don't do it. Get
I wouldn't do that. I know I know it's disappointing. I know he has been disappointing, but that's not enough of a return with him coming out of the bye week. Let's see how he does, with a full week off to rest. So.
Yeah, but we hope that helps, bro. Thanks for the question. Ethan, hey you guys.
What's going on, Ethan?
What should I pick up from Jordan Howard, Pat Freiermuth, Logan Thomas, to Ernest Johnson, Van Jefferson, Elijah Moore? Darrell Williams is my RB2 for the week because of buys. That's a factor.
So to that, I mean, the thing about Jordan Howard looked,
because isn't
I was gonna say to Ernest Johnson.
No. What's Nick Chubb dealing with? I saw a report. He's dealing with
COVID.
COVID.
He's on the COVID-19 list.
So if you're looking for this week, I know they just signed Brian Hill.
Yeah.
I don't care about that.
The other thing about, like, it's not just Nick Chubb. Demetric Felton, for what that's worth, also went on the COVID list. So they're incredibly thin right now because Kareem Hunt is not coming off IR yet. Chubb is... So I'm pretty sure I read this correctly when I checked the update. Chubb is vaccinated, so there's a non-zero chance that he could turn around and play Week 10 because it's early enough in the week still. He's got to provide 2 negative tests 24 hours apart. So if that happens like Thursday and Friday or Friday and Saturday, he could play. So it's a long shot, but he could play. So to that point, if you're dealing with waivers and everything, I understand wanting to go for Ernest Johnson, and he's probably should be the top pickup.
He's still going to get a fair amount of work, even if Chubb plays. He's not going to get a ton, but he's shown that he can still pick up a few touches in this offense, and I mean he's a good bet for a touchdown.
Yeah.
If running back help, I'd go him over Jordan Howard. And you specifically called out that your RB2 is Darrell Williams. But if you're looking for flex plays regardless, I'd be going Freiermuth for sure. Because he's picking up all the. I mean, Ebron is still hurt. He's picking up all the Juju work, and he looked great. He's a fixture of that offense now. I didn't think we were going to see that
in the worst matchup. Like, the Bears give up the fewest amount of points at the tight end position. He had 2 touchdowns. And again, Ben can't throw deep, so Freiermuth appears to be a great option rest of season, even if Ebron comes back. So Freiermuth is definitely there. But as far as the running back, Ernest Johnson makes sense, but I think Ernest Johnson over Jordan Howard, but that depends on, is Nick Chubb able to, miraculously might not be the right word, but like beat the odds of spinning 2 negative COVID tests and being able to play. That can't be ruled out. Like Jordan Howard, we know will get work.
He'd be beating the odds, and I'd be willing to bet against that.
Okay. So then to that point, Jordan Howard would be.
Ernest Johnson still has value there.
So to that point, Ernest Johnson, if you don't, and I think the way this has gone, I'm actually not sure there has been a player who has tested positive and then turned around and played the following game, vaccinated or not. So yeah, I mean, Ernest Johnson would appear to be the top move at running back. So maybe Ernest and then Freiermuth.
And I like Elijah Moore, but I'm not expecting that the Jets can continue to put up 350 to 400 passing yards a game with the quarterbacks that they're rolling out there. I mean, and I know it's been an amazing
Josh
story.
Johnson, the truth.
But Corey Davis wasn't out there last game. I know Moore has done the most with with the opportunity that he's been given over the past few weeks, but he'd be third on my list unless we got news that Chubb did figure it out and get those two negative tests. Then for me it would be Freiermuth and Elijah Moore.
One other guy, Ethan, that I'll just throw in there. If Mark Ingram is available, he might be worth a low-end waiver claim because the report came out today that Alvin Kamara is quote-unquote a little banged up, and the Saints worked out, I think, 3 different running backs today. So if Mark Ingram is out there, he's also on the list. Could be a good cheap ad like before the Wednesday practice reports come out.
And he's a good bet to get 5 catches regardless.
He's been getting work.
He was getting 5 catches along with the rushing work regardless. He's not getting the red zone touches, but I still think he's a valuable RB3.
Yeah.
Pretty much every week, a valuable low-end RB3 who, in the spot where it can put up high-end RB2 weeks, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
In this offense.
Real quick to just go back to Anthony's question. He said Justin Herbert. I would if you're only starting one quarter.
Is it one QB?
If it's only one quarterback and you start, I know Murray missed this week. Maybe he misses again this week. I would still say no.
Yeah, I'm rolling with Murray. He's sitting. He should be coming back healthy when he comes back.
You can stream a quarterback and keep Gibson. I know Herbert popped this past week. He looks real good.
I mean, Herbert's Herbert. He's going to keep Herberting, but
he's going to Herbert.
Right. But I like Murray's weapons more. I like Murray the quarterback more.
I'd just rather have Gibson. Yeah, I'd rather have Gibson than 2 QB1s when I can only start 1.
Unless you're in a 2 QB league, but yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And
in which case that trade product. But yeah, no problem. Hopefully that helps.
Now I will say this. I said if they're the Ernest Johnson, if Nick Chubb does come away playing this week, I said go Elijah Moore and Pat Freiermuth. Probably be Van Jefferson and Pat Freiermuth. Wouldn't be Elijah Moore and Pat Freiermuth, but Van Jefferson
think I prefer.
And Elijah Moore are close.
They are close, but I
prefer Van Jefferson.
I do think I slightly prefer Van. Just
better quarterback.
I know he was kind of quiet this week, but he's attached to the much better offense.
Better quarterback, and I mean Elijah Moore is still playing behind technically, or has been at least two wide receivers himself. So if you're looking at where he's at on the depth chart, he technically is their wide receiver 3. And so is Van Jefferson. So all other factors aside, I'd go Van Jefferson there. So just to clarify that, but yeah, thanks for tuning in, Ethan.
Jets head coach Robert Saleh said that he expects Corey Davis to return this week as well for the Jets. So
there you go.
Another wrinkle.
Yep. All right, moving on. Casey Royals, should I start Jordan Howard or Devonta Freeman this week? I have Barkley and Montgomery on bye. Dalvin Cook is my other running back. Freeman plays this Thursday.
Yeah, against the Dolphins. What's the status report of Latavius Murray? Because I'm inclined to say Freeman.
I don't think I don't think there's anything positive on Latavius.
Still absent on Tuesday. Back-to-back did not practices. He appears to be trending to miss. Freeman. It looks like he's going to get most of the work, and I don't like whoever's getting the lead back duties in Baltimore at this point. Like, and it could still continue to rotate, but whoever it is that given week, yeah, I'm interested.
And it looks like it's going to continue to be Devonta Freeman in the 1A position. It's not going to be Tyson Williams. It's not going to, and Le'Veon Bell is really the only threat there.
Casey wrote, I think Devonta Freeman he's likely in almost every format for 10, 12, maybe even some 14-team leagues. He's the top ad this week.
Probably.
Devonta Freeman is the top ad. I would maybe put Jordan Howard. Now I would put him third behind Ernest Johnson, but I would put Devonta Freeman number 1 overall as far as likely vast majority of league waiver pickups this week.
Would you put Jordan Howard 4th behind Mark Ingram, since you mentioned it?
Yes, I would.
There we go. We're probably going to get burned again, Jordan Howard. Whatever. Moving on.
Yeah, they're tied. They're tied for. I'll give them a tie. I'll give him a tie.
So you retracted your message, but you hit us up below. So, Alex Watts, do you think OBJ will end up on the Packers?
So I just kind of mentioned, like, if the Packers are usually the type of franchise, type of organization to never even like consider this move. I think given the circumstances around Aaron Rodgers, they may actually make an exception, knowing that the writing is on the wall, knowing that Rodgers could actually legitimately walk, knowing that I think it's fair to say he wants to walk, he wants to leave. So they're just going to try, like, they're looking at this from like, how do we go all in to go for a Super Bowl? And if they, do their homework, do their research and determine that Odell, here's the question. Does Aaron Rodgers want it? Does the Packers brass come to Aaron Rodgers? Like, it might come to that point. Does the Packers brass, or vice versa, or maybe Rodgers walks into the office and says, go get him, like, get me OBJ. If Rodgers wants it, the Packers will make it happen.
And I don't see why Rodgers wouldn't want it.
Yeah, I
finally the team's willing to spend money on his account. And this would keep the eyes off of him and the stories that have been surrounding him, and then it would be all about OBJ. And then the only questions anybody would have about Aaron Rodgers moving forward,
it looks like they actually don't.
Right. But I lost my train of thought.
Sorry. I was just taking a look at the team cap.
Sorry,
that's
lost
my
my
bad.
Point.
They have about $4.5 million in cap space, so they'd have to do some finagling to make it work.
Sign him for $4 million.
Well, I think isn't his cap hit like 7.25?
So does it? But he's passed waivers. I thought that was the thing in question. Now he can sign as a free agent. So now they can give him whatever contract he wants.
Got it. So they could fit him in.
That whole money situation with how much they had to take on from the Browns, I think that's why he got waived, because no team was willing to.
They couldn't fit it under.
Right.
Yup. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, I think this is, if there were ever a year for the Packers to do it, it's this year. Sign him to a 1-year deal, and if Rodgers walks, you probably have absolutely no interest in bringing him back.
And when the Packers were winning Super Bowls, they had Greg Jennings on one side and Jordy Nelson on the other side. They had 2 weapons for Rodgers. They haven't had 2 weapons for Rodgers in like 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah, like Aaron Jones is their wide receiver too.
Right. So I think
yeah. That's not
Odell
awful.
Could end up there. Odell could end up there.
Yeah. I think there's any other year my answer would be the chance is 0. This year I say that it could absolutely happen.
2 biggest players are Packers and the Raiders for me still, and Seattle. I think Pete Carroll's just being Pete Carroll. He's just being Pete Carroll. He's just being a character. Dude's
Grandpa
just a
Pete. Yeah, Grandpa.
So yeah, can't trust anything that comes out of his mouth.
Nah, not at all.
Michael Marshall, fantasy outlook for James Robinson, full PPR for rest of season.
Should be good.
Should be
it's
on
good.
that RB1 borderline for the rest of the season.
maybe like top 15.
RB1
not necessarily top. Yeah. He's like a RB1 and a half.
If an RB1 is top 12, then top 15 is the RB1 borderline.
Yeah, I mean, he's already proven that, him being on a bad team doesn't hold him back from production. If he's healthy, he's going to have this backfield to himself. Carlos Hyde, it feels like Urban Meyer came to his senses about this like a few weeks back. Carlos Hyde is an afterthought if James Robinson is healthy. He's going to get a lot of work. The offense is struggling a bit right now. I think they missed him. I know they won. It was 9-6, whatever. But the offense still struggled. But they're past that that bad matchup against the Bills. They still play their division plenty of times. Nothing scary about. Well, I know the Titans' defense looked pretty good against the Rams, but by the numbers, they're not. They're not shut down defenses in the AFC South. I think he'll be fine. Yeah, like top 20 should be a fair floor to expect.
And I think we're gonna see more passing game work for him because, I mean, look, their number one wide receiver over the past 3 weeks has been a converted cornerback from the Detroit Lions, Jamal Agnew. And Laviska Shenault isn't turning out to be anything, and you can't trust Marvin Jones week to week anymore.
I was wrong about that guy.
And DJ Chark is obviously done for the year, and Dan Arnold is the only other really consistent pass catcher on that offense. So I think when James Robinson comes back, I think there might be an increased emphasis on him being involved in the pass game out of necessity.
Yeah.
Which bodes well for his ranking rest of the season, his rest of the season outlook. So yeah, I like him. I'll stick by borderline RB1. And top 20 should be his floor. 20 should be his floor.
I would say top 20 should be his floor.
Yep. Alex Watts, is AP worth holding? Yeah.
Yeah.
He got 10 touches in that offense. It wasn't
right.
The 20
First
that
game.
We predicted.
It wasn't good. It
but
was
he got
ugly.
All the goal line work.
Yeah.
For a team that should be in the goal line, on the goal line a lot.
Leave him on the bench this week. Yeah. Right. That's the thing. The offense is good. The offense could help carry him a little bit just to production by default. Leave him on the bench for now. But yes, he's a hold. You probably spent a good waiver pick claim on him and or fob. At the very least, hold for a couple of weeks. It wasn't a doomsday scenario where it was like one carry for 1 yard and Donta Foreman and Jerry McNichols got all the work. It was not a doomsday scenario. Like you said, 10 touches right out the gate.
Yeah.
So,
and his first NFL work for a 35-year-old in almost a year?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been some time. So, leave him on the bench.
He's worth holding.
Leave him on the bench, but also leave him on the roster too.
He might not be that high-end RB2 that we were talking about, because he might not get those 20 touches. He might be limited
matchup based RB3.
I think he got 11 this game in his first game in action. So,
at 11 touches. So
low-end RB2.
He's a wait and see. The arrow's not trending up. It's not trending down. It's flat, but that's okay.
Yep. And Elout, what's going on, bro?
W out. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, you can hit us up for overall team advice. Absolutely.
Yeah, whatever you got.
Yeah. Throw it in the chat. Definitely.
Whatever you got.
Sheet 1, who's a better flex this week, Van Jefferson or Bateman? Thinking of using wide receivers this week since no AB.
Yeah, well, I guess to that point, maybe you can't use both. I don't hate the idea of Bateman against the Dolphins on a Thursday night, a short week. Where is that game? Is that game in Baltimore?
I tend to think that if Van Jefferson had an off game, then it's going back to Van Jefferson.
Could be. And we said that about Emmanuel Sanders.
But that whole Stafford, that offense had a bad week. They got shut out.
They did.
By a team that lost their best offensive weapon. And they got
well, then to that
out.
point, would you want to chase the better offense then? Because right now it looks like it might be the Ravens. Bateman got 8 targets.
Right, but that was again in absence of Sammy Watkins, who there was a report today that he's coming back this week. So and that was the question about him coming into this past week, and Sammy Watkins did not play, so boost for Rashad Bateman. But now we have to take into account how much is he going to take targets away. Once we have a better idea of that, I'd be willing to go more on that Bateman side.
Do you think Watkins outplays Bateman if he plays? Or out
No, but I think he might take away enough work to where Bateman doesn't quite. It takes away the opportunity for Bateman to hit a ceiling game. Whereas Van Jefferson, there's not a factor on this upcoming week where I envision outside of the fact that he's lower on the depth chart to where he's going to get
on the road.
Usage.
They're on the road. The Rams are in San Francisco in what might be, a get-right game for them. And the Niners just got, boat raced by the backups of Arizona. So, okay. I could see Van. I don't hate the idea.
Bateman is a bad idea. And I know Sammy Watkins shouldn't be this big unknown to where I should be shifting off of Bateman, but Bateman hasn't hit those ceiling games for the past 3 weeks either. It's not like we've seen a touchdown in each game or something every season, every week. And Van Jefferson's been hitting ceiling games, so I'd be willing to go with the guy that's hitting ceiling games over the guy that's been getting work and not hitting the ceiling games yet. And getting another person back into the offense.
He just said he could start both. He's got Brown who's starting, CeeDee Lamb who's starting, and Emmanuel Sanders. Would you play both of them or over Emmanuel Sanders? Would you play Van over Emmanuel Sanders?
No, I'm going back to that because I think
you're going back to Sanders.
I think that was the outlier game for the Bills of outlier games, and they have struggled.
Still at 4 for 65.
Right, and they have struggled over the past 2 weeks. And while I don't anticipate their struggles just going out the window, I don't think they're gonna have a 6-point game next week. I don't think they're gonna have the struggles that they had against Jacksonville moving forward. Right, I hope not.
So you play Van. Van over Bateman.
Van over Bateman, and I'd be willing to keep Emmanuel Sanders in there, and I'd be willing to keep and obviously CD and AB ahead of him.
They have to be in there.
Yep.
I kind of like Bateman this week, but I see the point about Van.
I like Bateman a lot.
I see the point about Van.
Van Jefferson's a sure shot at getting a ceiling game right now.
Okay.
Alex Watts, Claypool or Devonta rest of season?
Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
Claypool's getting targets.
That offense just kind of meh.
The offense is very meh. I know they almost dropped like 30 on the Bears, but
in Dynasty, I'm going out and getting Claypool. In Dynasty,
sure.
If I can go out and get Claypool right now, I'm going out and getting Claypool. He's 23. He already showed his ceiling in the league. He's just playing in one of the most anemic offenses in the league right now due to the fact that their quarterback is just...
Ooh, man, the boost he would get in 2022 if he was catching passes from Aaron Rodgers. Ooh, boy.
Young Devonta.
But for this season, I mean, is there anything you like? I think it might be Devonta.
No, for this season it's Devonta.
Yeah,
rest of career,
you reminded me. I gotta give you props. You reminded me. Somebody we gotta start sit question that included Devonta on Sunday, and I was like wavering a little bit, but you were like, because you were like, remember what you said? Like Devonta's been more consistent than we. And you kind of remember, you kind of like think of when you think of Devonta, and it was like, okay, yeah, that was one we got right. Start Devonta, and he delivered.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, he's the number one receiver. He's going to be a little bit up and down. He's not going to score every week. He might only finish the season with 4 or 5 touchdowns, but the targets are there as the team's clear wide receiver 1. Yeah. Claypool might be a little. He could have boom weeks, but his floor is much lower than Devonta's right now.
Agreed. I'd agree.
So.
Hope that helps, Alex. If you got any other questions, let us know. FMM 650 USC.
Sauce?
UC.
Is that supposed
not
to
USC?
be sauce? I don't know.
UC. Can't spell. I don't know. Started 0-5, currently 4-5. AOA.
Nice.
Congrats for the rally.
That's how you bounce back. That's how you bounce back.
Kamara, Najee Harris, McLaurin, Bateman, Ali Cox, Connor, Agnew, DPJ, Darrell Williams, or is that Damian Williams? Mooney, Tony,
could be Darrell.
Elijah Moore, Collins, Jeff Wilson Jr. Who do I start?
I mean, you already know in Najee and McLaurin. I mean, I would say the same for Kamara, but obviously we gotta pay attention to the practice reports. Connor, right. So like obviously, so Najee, no brainer. Kamara, no brainer as long as he's in there. But if he has to miss because of this report that he's a little banged up, Connor's an easy fill-in. McLaurin, I mean, given some of those options at wide receiver, I think I would say Bateman. I would say Bateman is a start, but you also may want to like try to flip some of these guys for like an improvement at wide receiver. Not Kamara or Najee Harris or shoot even James Conner at this point, but
so if you can sell high on DPJ, if you can sell high on Agnew, if you can
sell on Darrell Williams, like while actually Clyde might be coming back this
Collins.
week. So
I know I talked about Collins maybe just being the Seattle Seahawks rest of season back and just be the upside or the downside of rolling with him rest of season just because he's going to be there when Russell Wilson comes back. But if you can combine Collins with one of these depth wide receivers you have to upgrade there, that is a move that I would absolutely make. I know you're not talking about trade advice here, but let's get back to this start-sit advice. I mean,
I think I would give it.
Harris is an automatic start. If Kamara's not starting, then it's Harris and Connor. And if not, and if he is starting, I'd still find a way to put Connor in your flex.
Get all three in there.
Ali
and
Cox
what you hope is
so you got to roll with him there.
Is there any way we can upgrade that?
And who would you go as your wide receiver 2 and 3?
I mean, given these options, I'm inclined to say Bateman and Mooney.
You wouldn't go Agnew or DPJ just for this week?
What did Agnew do again this week? I heard he had
Agnew
another.
Was playing the Bills, so I think you take what he did this past week out of it completely. But DPJ had a boom week.
They get the Colts this week.
DPJ had a boom week.
Yeah, he did.
And he's gonna.
The Browns. The Browns boat raced. They boat raced the Bengals. They get the Patriots this week, so I don't know if I necessarily expect them to blow the doors off of the Patriots, but yeah, I get you could go Peoples-Jones. I mean, you could go Peoples-Jones.
That's the third guy, is what I'm saying, over Mooney, because I mean.
Sure, give me one more week on Mooney. Let me wait one more.
Chicago offense is just.
McLaurin, Bateman, McLaurin. All right, yeah, McLaurin, Bateman, DPJ, but hold Mooney.
Yes.
Hold Mooney, because it looks like that Bears offense might be figuring out a thing or two. That was a great throw by Justin Fields to Mooney on the touchdown.
Yeah, that's true.
All things considered.
That's true. He has looked better. Fields has looked
He's looked a little better.
This offense has looked progressively a little bit better, but it's still just like a borderline NFL offense, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
But Elau was you got your team.
So here's
question.
This is his
My
team.
team is Brady, Kamara, Swift, Fournette, Cooks, Tony, Ertz. Kicker defensive stream, I like that. Bench is OBJ, Edwards, Jordan Love, Peterson, Tyson, and Gronk. What do I do?
You only start one quarterback. You drop Jordan Love.
You drop Tyson Williams.
And you drop Brian Edwards. You drop those three. OBJ's a hold pending where he lands.
Yep.
Peterson you just picked up. You might as well hang on to him. I know it wasn't pretty on Sunday night, but he got 10 carries.
He's your fifth running back. Your running backs, your fourth running back there.
Right.
So,
he's depth. He's emergency depth. So that's fine. And you got Gronk coming back, got Gronk and Ertz. So you could stack Gronk with Brady, or you can go with Ertz depending on the matchup. So that's fine there too. But yeah, you you drop Edwards, like who's out there? Like even an Eno Benjamin, like for part-time
your wide
work.
Receivers are where you need help. Cooks, Tony, OBJ, Edwards. In that situation, I'm not willing to drop Edwards. I know it didn't look good. 4 targets, no catches. And Zay Jones looked better than him. But it was the first week after 2 of the most tumultuous weeks a wide receiver could probably have in an offense. One, he loses his head coach, and then the next game he loses the guy he's out there with, the other wide receiver on the squad, and they're dealing with the repercussions of that. I mean, that's gotta be tough to deal with. It's not like Zay Jones came in and lit the world on fire. He had 4 targets and caught 1 of them. I just think there are still brighter days ahead for Edwards, even though I don't think he's going to hit the ceiling that I projected for him, obviously. But in your situation, I would not be dropping him. I would not be dropping Edwards when your wide receivers right now are Cooks and Tony.
So Jordan Love and Tyson Williams are drops for guys like,
and then you
I don't
pick
know,
up wide receivers on your who are your wide receivers on your
is Jamal Agnew out there? Is Tim Patrick? Is he out there? Shoot. Antonio Brown looks like he might not be close. Is Tyler Johnson out there? Like, you already have Brady. Like, could you grab another Bucs receiver? I think Scotty Miller is getting activated off IR. He's a deep name to keep an eye on. Again, just another guy that you can stack with Brady. I would. You're fine at running back. I would scour the wire for some wide receivers. Jordan Love, Tyson Williams are drops. Tony, Peterson, that's fine about it. Tony, Peterson, OBJ are definite holds. Edwards, I guess given the situation, wait 1 more week.
Yeah, he's got a 14-man league, so this is a deeper league that we're talking about. So,
all right. So Edwards is a little bit like the Edwards.
So you got Elijah Moore and DP Jones. So you're I mean, those are the guys that we'd be recommending. So good job. We wouldn't recommend you be doing anything else really, except we recommend you be dropping.
You'll be all right.
Jordan
You'll be all right.
Love and,
the starters are strong.
Tyson Williams, but other than that, yeah.
Starters are strong. You get back Brady this week. You get back Fournette this week. Kamara, obviously keep an eye on the injury news. So to that point, maybe see if you can sneak Mark Ingram onto your roster if you have to. And Swift is awesome.
If you can do that, you try to.
All right.
No, never mind.
No, never mind.
Nope.
Okay.
I was gonna say
if you can get Elijah Moore and DB, those two would be. Don't try to trade Kamara. I would.
No. If you can try to trade Fournette, would you do that?
It depends on the return. I typically don't like.
Receiver, is what I mean.
I typically don't like trading a running back, especially one who has been performing like Fournette for a wide receiver, which are literally he's like Elijah Moore's out there, Donovan Peoples-Jones are out there.
Fournette has gotten the usage. He hasn't actually. Week in, week out, he had a hot stretch there, but he hasn't. And I expect it to continue more weeks than it hasn't. But he hasn't been.
I'd rather hold him, especially having Brady. I'd rather hold him.
Yeah, true. You got Brady. Stack. What am I thinking? I love stacks.
Stacks.
Stacks on stacks. All right, yeah.
Running back, quarterback to running back can be a stack. It can be. If you believe hard enough.
Well, we hope that helps. Thanks for
Hopefully that helps.
You out.
What's going on, Bender? Yeah, everybody wipe your feet.
I would trade DK Pitts and the scrub for Chase, Barkley, and Gesicki. Standard league smash accept. DK Pitts and a scrub for Chase, Barkley, and Gesicki. Standard keeper.
So DK gets Russ back. So obviously that's a nice little boost for Metcalf.
I would do that.
I think I would do it too because Saquon is
I would do that. God. I would smash accept. Yes, that's a smash accept. That's a smash accept. We're thinking too hard.
It's supposed to happen.
That's a smash accept. We're thinking too hard.
It's supposed to happen this week or after the bye week. Saquon is supposed to return. He was supposed to return this week, but COVID got in the way. So yeah, I think that is smash accept.
Yep.
I think that is smash accept. Yeah, go ahead, Bender. Make that happen before they pull it.
Yeah, props.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
Yep. Standard league, getting Barkley. Your wide receivers don't change. Your tight ends really stay pretty much equitable for this season. So, yeah.
Pretty much.
Alex Watts, my RBs, Carson, Collins, A.J. Dillon, AP, Jeff Wilson, Miles Sanders, and Eckler. I would like to drop three of them and pick up roster space. Which ones? Jeff Wilson, you drop. Out of those, I don't think you drop any of the others, though. I don't think any of the others are droppable. You're not dropping.
Probably Wilson. Neither of us are optimistic about Carson, but like, are we ready to say he's an outright drop?
I'd be trying to sell Carson and Sanders right now with that lineup. But
you're not going to get anything for them, even if you like package them together.
Yeah.
Like, if Carson eating up one of your IR spots? Like, do you have do you have AB? Are you trying to find somebody else that you can stash on IR? I mean, to that point though, I would wait and see if is a miraculous recovery like in the works here, because he's been trying to play. So yeah, Wilson would be the guy. Wilson would be the guy here. If you had to drop
one other of those guys, because you said drop a 3, I don't know. You meant
of those options, I mean, if you don't want to drop Carson, then it's Peterson. I'm not dropping Dillon.
Collins.
Not dropping Dillon.
Yeah, not dropping Sanders yet either.
Right.
So yeah,
I guess Peterson would be second,
but
it's a distant second.
AP.
It's a distant second. Wilson, fine to drop. AP, but like, if you feel like you're making a move that makes your team better, then fine.
Eduardo, what's going on, bro? I got
AB
and Hopkins, both probably out this week. Scary Terry, Bateman, Ayuk, good enough to compete this week? I believe so.
Yeah.
Good enough to compete with?
Yeah. Because, look, I like Bateman this week. It's a great matchup. The Ravens are going down to Miami. It is a road game on a short week on Thursday. I hate that crap. But
Miami is giving up the third most fantasy points to wide receivers, 34.9 fantasy points to opposing wide receivers.
I know you made the point that Sammy Watkins is expected to play this week, but Bateman got 8 targets. I don't see why he can't get 6 or 7, even with Watkins back in the fold. Just recently, 2 weeks ago, before the bye week, he had a 3 for 80 week. So he can make big plays. I like Bateman this week against Miami. And then Ayuk came to life this week. The 49ers were playing catch up all day. But this isn't a good team. This is not a good San Francisco.
They could be doing that again next week.
Right, against the Rams. Right.
Get right, game.
Like, he's better than Trent Sherfield. He's better than Mohamed Sanu. Ayuk is better than these guys. Even with a healthy Kittle back. Yeah, I guess kudos, respect to him for that. But Ayuk should be playing ahead of him. And it's possible Debo sees Jalen Ramsey. If not Kittle, honestly. But you're fine. You're all right. You're all right, Eduardo. You'll be okay. But just the update from AB. I saw a video of him rehabbing the ankle. We might be missing him for more than one more week. That swelling looks pretty bad. Just throwing it out there. As with many shares of AB, I've been paying a lot of attention to him this year. I'm not so sure we see him week 11 either. So just FYI.
Yeah, AB was your biggest.
He was my biggest target this year. Biggest target this year relative to cost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Biggest go and get him player.
I'm not tilting. I'm not tilting.
Crumply heads. Should I drop Chuba for Ingram? Don't necessarily need to start him, but should I? And the McCaffrey owner. If you're the McCaffrey owner, you should not be dropping Chuba.
Then keep Chuba.
If you don't need to start Ingram, then you should keep Chuba. Considering McCaffrey, I mean, at this point, he's a threat to come out on any play still.
You dropped Chuba if you make the fantasy playoffs and you need a roster spot and you have a healthy McCaffrey. When you get to the playoffs and you have a healthy McCaffrey, then you can drop Chuba.
Do you think so?
But right now, no.
I wouldn't be dropping Chuba if I got to the playoffs. Who would you
if
pick
I
up
felt like
instead
I
of
needed
Chuba?
If I felt like I needed a roster spot,
Okay,
if I felt like I
if you
needed a
felt like you
player,
needed the roster spot, yeah, but I'm not dropping Chuba in the playoffs. I mean, if my RB1 goes down in the playoffs again, I need to fill it out, and I mean,
if I got a healthy McCaffrey, if I got a healthy McCaffrey and I feel like I need a roster spot, those are dice I'm willing to roll, but not right now.
Yeah,
not right now.
I mean, I'm not for Ingram right now. Basically, this week we can
not right
argue on whether or not you do it in the playoffs, but let's argue about that when you get there.
Yep.
Because you will get there if you follow our advice. Ew.
We hope so.
We hope so. We hope so.
Crap. I don't feel like that was necessarily the case this week, but I hope so.
Yeah, the past 2 weeks we've taken our lumps, but
we've gotten some
we're
right.
learning from each week, so.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're working on it.
Hey, you're welcome.
Yeah,
the
no
extra
problem.
RBs are mainly for the bye.
Oh, from like
Fair
big,
enough.
from big bye weeks, sure.
Yep.
So you'll
tried Fournette for Keenan Allen and didn't get accepted, but to be honest, I was happy with that outcome.
right,
yeah, sometimes you put in a trade offer and it gets declined, and you're like, oh, okay.
Right. Some of the best moves are the ones you don't make.
Yep, and we've advised that sometimes on this pod. People ask us for trade advice, and we say, "Yo, hold pat."
Sometimes that's the case.
Because sometimes
we look at it and we think
0-5, and then you end up you look up and you're 4-5 4 weeks later, like FMM up there. So.
Yeah, right. That's how you bounce back. You stay true to what you built at the beginning.
Yep.
You don't win a championship in the first month.
Agreed. But yo, thanks for the kind words, Elau. Crumply heads. Straight trade Ertz for Knox. I get Knox. I'm doing it. Hey, if you're doing it, then go for it.
I'm good with that. I mean, what's the status on? Will Knox come back this week?
What's the status on Knox? The status on Knox is Tommy Sweeney ain't it, and this team needs their tight end one back, because for the weeks that they've been without Dawson Knox, they've looked like a different team. Mm-hmm. I don't think that is all on Dawson Knox. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that they've been injured on their O-line and stuff, and teams are just playing them a little differently. But not having Dawson Knox out there takes away a little bit of the versatility. So they're going to be using Knox a lot when he gets back.
He's gonna it looks like he could come back this week too.
So I think Knox for Ertz is, he was the tight end 3 before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Tight end 3. Ertz hasn't been the tight end 3 since 2017. Good job.
No, I mean, he's in his first game with the Cardinals, he popped in a great matchup against Houston. Since then, it's been quiet. Since then, it's been kind of quiet, especially with no Kyler Murray. So, if probably as if you could do that, formerly known as, I'm doing that deal. I'm totally fine with that.
Bender, hey, you're welcome. Alex Watts, if you got another question for us that you don't want to retract, hit us up. Elout, hey, first year.
Oh, this is your first year? Oh, well, first of all, welcome.
In your first year, yeah.
First of all, welcome. Hopefully we can help you kind of navigate these waters.
Fantasy football.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll be doing like 6 different leagues minimum, 5 years from now. Don't worry.
Yep.
It's all downhill from here. But yeah, however we could. I know, you pick up a couple of losses. It's like, it hurts. You want to win. You want to win every game. Obviously, you want to win every game, but that's just not going to happen. You're 5-3. No reason to feel like you need to overcorrect in any way. But there are a couple of minor moves that you can make that can, fill your depth out a little bit.
Being active on the waiver wire is one of the most important things you can do week to week to improve the possibilities of getting into the playoffs. For the first few years of me doing fantasy, I wasn't actually that great at picking a team. That was what I was good at was being the first person to the waiver wire and building my team that way. So there are two ways to do it. You can draft the best team in the world, or you can put in the work week in, week out, and continue churning the end of your roster to continue to eke out wins. So, yeah, man, keep tuning in with us. Hopefully, we can help you get to the playoffs, deep into the playoffs, and win a championship in your first year.
We both did that.
We did both do that.
Both did that.
Kaunohi, what's going on, bro?
What's up, Kaunohi?
Suggested moves for a 12-team half PPR. Quarterback.
Jackson's a no. Oh. That's a no right off the top. You're good there.
Running back is good.
Well, Edmonds hurts, but obviously you already got McCaffrey back, so you're feeling fine.
You're getting CEH back. Carter's been good in the interim. Howard has
Carter's
been good for the next week. You have
you're good there.
Yeah, you have Booker, so you've been filling in with an RB2 week in, week out. No, I think your running backs
are fine.
And
running backs are fine, especially with McCaffrey.
They will get better as you get healthier. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I like
wide receivers where it hurts a little bit right now.
Well, you're getting Gallup back.
Get Gallup back.
And
should be this week.
Ridley hurts.
DJ Moore hurts a little bit right now.
The fact that Sam Darnold's just hurts DJ Moore. I kind of did a little stock up, stock down just today from week 9 about some guys, and DJ Moore was a guy that I highlighted. It's not him, it's his environment, it's his situation. Yep.
Sam Darnold, I think it's officially fair to say it's like he might not be it. And DJ Moore is suffering because of that. Plus, with McCaffrey back, we got to downgrade him to kind of like a middling wide receiver too.
Yep.
Stealing opportunities are still there, but it's gonna feel like pulling teeth a little bit. Waddle, you're fine. Gallup comes back. Laviska is a drop candidate, and Callaway's a hold. Callaway scored. It's not the most fun situation with him right now with Trevor Siemian, but he scored. So there's that. So right now your starters are probably can't start Gallup yet, but like your starters are more Waddle and Callaway.
Gallup should be in for volume when he comes back though. So
right, Gallup comes back for volume.
Be a wide receiver 3 and wide receiver 3 that you could feel decent about week to week once he does come back.
Would you try to maybe like flip Sony to say the Darrell Henderson owner for like see if you can get a better wide receiver? Could do something like that.
Yeah, if I can.
Like
your running back depth, that you have a lot of players back there, so if you can flip one of them for
Clyde
a
comes
wide
back.
receiver, considering you are hurting on your wide receiver right now, and a lot of your depth guys they're not great depth guys. Laviska's a rough start right now. Callaway is a rough start right now. So
Callaway is a hold given the situation, but
it's still a rough start right now.
Great, you don't feel great about it,
right? And Gallup you haven't had all season, so.
Right. So I think Sony, that would be, just looking at the team, that would be my first move, Kyle. No, like identify the Darrell Henderson owner and see if they want Sony as the handcuff. See if they'd be willing to give you like a decent upgrade at wide receiver. Somebody who's better than Laviska or Callaway.
And Booker is about to lose all of his value with Saquon coming back. So if you can ship him off to the Saquon owner for his depth of wide receiver, for his 6th wide receiver, depending on who that is, that might be a good move too. Because Booker's going to be pretty much unusable bench space on your team pretty soon. Right,
once Saquon comes back, yeah. But then you have 2 of the potential 4 Eagles backs. Like they are hold in this situation. Those guys are your holds as far as RB depth.
Yep. And so, Ahmed, I think you can sell. You can get rid of Ahmed for whoever's on the waiver wire just to.
Yeah, he could. If there's like a wide receiver 4, Ahmed's not a hold.
Yeah, and you said Freeman, Ernest, Ingram aren't available, and we wouldn't recommend you picking up a running back anyway. But who's available for wide receivers? Because that is technically where you do need a little bit of help. Let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
You out? It's not very big. Oh, you're in the Netherlands. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We've got. If you had told me, like, we've got several.
Dynasty next year. That's a steep move. I didn't get into Dynasty until like 10 years in.
It took a decade or more.
Hey, that's a big jump
for me anyway.
That's a big jump.
It took me like 15, but also I don't know what I don't know what I was doing.
We're gonna have a lot of Dynasty content in the off season, so
yes,
definitely stay tuned, bro. We'll be doing just general team building centric live streams, tons of rookie content. So yeah, be ready when it comes. Jason, what's going on? P Diddy Papa Diddy Pop.
What's going on, Jason?
Yo, it's been a minute. What's going on, bro? Is Eno Benjamin worth it in Dynasty?
Yeah. In Dynasty, absolutely. James Conner's popping right now, but he's
second year right now.
He's older for a running back. Chase Edmonds is not a bell cow. Not that Eno is either, but like that lends to him potentially carving out a role in a committee.
Mm-hmm. I like Eno.
Yeah, he's worth it. Like I got to imagine he's rostered. So if you're trying to figure out what to get, I mean, his value is going to be higher right this second. You can't throw a 3rd round pick at him and expect the Eno owner, especially if they could use a spot start from him, to go for an offer like that. But I wouldn't also want to trade a 2nd round pick for a guy like that either.
No.
He's a hold. His value is literally in a spot literally right now where I'm not interested in trying. If I can get him for a 3rd round pick, sure. But do I think that's going to happen this week where we're expecting him to get more work? I doubt it. But I would not go high. If somebody was give me your 2nd round pick.
Throw it out there. If he's on somebody else's team,
or
if
you're
get him in a dynasty league, but don't go.
Or
but then
on the flip side,
negotiations there if they start asking for more.
Oh, he's on the okay. He said he's on the wire.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, depending on who are you dropping? I guess that would be my question. Who is the drop candidate? But regardless, yeah, he's probably worth trying to get a hold of. Like you said, John, 2nd year player. Connor next year, who knows? But
I believe Connor's on a 1-year deal.
Right, they could bring him back.
And honestly, I wouldn't doubt that they would. But it does almost seem like any running back that they bring in there to be that RB1 on the goal line is doing work. I mean, Kenyon Drake
It was Drake last year.
Really good over the 18 games that he played for Arizona when you're looking at fantasy. And James Conner has picked up right where Kenyon Drake left off and done a little better. That's
a perfect situation. That's a perfect example sometimes of identifying and targeting the situation, not necessarily the player.
Yep.
Because I like Kenyon Drake, but that role opportunity in the Arizona offense is clearly very valuable.
Yeah.
Connor's going to be more expensive next year, though, so I'm not going to be advocating drafting him. I'm gonna double down on that, and it's gonna bite me most likely, but I'm sticking to it.
No, I don't think it is.
All right,
and it bit you this year, man. But I would have said the same thing, and 95% of fantasy analysts were out.
Probably
would
have said the same thing
this year. So and 95%
so
of
bad,
James
man.
Conner after week 4 would have been now's probably the best time to sell on James Conner because where's the upside? And then obviously we've seen what's happened. Fantasy is super unpredictable. Football is just unpredictable. That's what makes this kind of fun sometimes.
That's what does make it fun.
But yeah, the bottom line is, Benjamin is worth owning in Dynasty for sure.
Oh, he said the drop candidates are Curtis Samuel, which I'm not crazy, but I know this is a lost season for Curtis Samuel, but I'm not necessarily trying to get rid of him in Dynasty yet. He's still only 26, right? 27.
I believe he's younger than that. I believe he's 26 next year. I believe he's 26 next year.
I would not be despite the lost season. You are right. He is 25. He'll be 26 in August. Yeah, P. Diddy. I'm not trying to drop Curtis Samuel, despite the fact that this has been a loss.
Who else you got on your roster? Who else are some?
He's got Trevor Siemian in.
I know, but
Trevor Siemian.
Keep going. Give us some more.
Yeah, if you give us a couple more, and then maybe we can just maybe then it's okay, maybe wait a little bit. I'm not dropping Curtis Samuel despite the lost season.
No, talent is still there, and
the talent is still there.
Lost season for almost that entire offense. So.
Right, and somebody's still they'll still be next year begging somebody to step up next to Terry McLaurin. So.
Yep.
I would hang on. And Simeon's probably a hold right now, especially in 2 quarterback. Well, only in 2 quarterback, but that makes him a hold.
My dynasty prediction is Mike White. I even want to pick him up to sell him high later this season. The dude look good for real. I mean,
oh, you mean like for a guy like moving forward?
I think the draft capital was too high on Zach Wilson for the team to be all the way out on Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Unless we because this isn't a Josh Rosen situation where he's rubbing everybody in the organization wrong and like pouting on the sidelines, and I don't think that Zach Wilson is Josh Rosen.
No, I don't think so.
There's
also real quick, I Crumply Heads. I see your question about Henderson, so we'll wrap this up and then come back to it. I mean, look, here's the thing with quarterbacks. There are always going to be opportunities. Like there are always going to be landing spot opportunities for young quarterbacks, even if they're bad. Quarterbacks with any type of draft capital, like they stick because it's so hard to find one. So it's possible he gets an opportunity somewhere, but it's probably it's going to take several years.
Mike White?
Yeah, at best. This is an at best. Sorry.
I mean, we've seen
this is an at best situation.
We've seen a lot of guys come in and have a hot start for a few games and then turn into a whole bunch of nothing. CJ Beathard from the San Francisco 49ers a few years ago did it. Case Keenum did it, and that's what's led to him being a backup in the league. There was that other guy for not Taylor Heineke, but that other guy for Washington who was their backup. But you get my point. The backups happen for 2 to 3 weeks at a time in the season, and they look great, and then they play 6 games and they're 500 and look crap.
And it's like, oh god, we were reminded why this guy. Yeah.
There was no tape on him. They could coming into the season, they couldn't prepare for what Mike White's deficiencies were, and once they're exposed, Mike White, stranger things have happened. Mike White might just blow up, and Tom Brady was a 7th round pick. Gotta throw it out there, but I'm not Kyle 6th. Allen. That's what it was. William, thank you.
Yeah, Kyle Allen.
Yeah. These quarterbacks, these backup quarterbacks, can have a hot game stretch for 3 years or three games. But sometimes we got to remember that might be all it is. Don't. I mean, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Nobody's calling Nick Foles a franchise quarterback right now.
Well, yeah, he's also he's over 30 at this point, a veteran. But yeah,
you get my point.
Yeah, not sure about Mike White. But anyway, Crumply Heads, formerly known as, asked if Henderson is healthy.
Hendo.
I'll still call him that whenever I want to. I mean, I think so.
I haven't heard
There's
anything.
No injury designation on him right now.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. He got 14 touches on Monday night. He didn't do much with it, but the work was there. So, down week, it happens. I haven't seen anything. If he is, the Rams bye week is week 11. So if he is, he could, we could be looking at this weekend next, but there's no injury designations as of right now. I think you're fine. And his end of season schedule is strong. The fantasy playoffs, Seattle gives up tons of points to running backs. Like Minnesota, not a scary matchup. Go figure. The Baltimore Ravens, who are usually a scary matchup on defense, not to running backs this year. Even if Henderson is hurt, he'll be fine for the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think he's fine. I from what I can tell, I think he's fine. Hendo. Don't hate.
I hate on that nickname, but
you can hate on whatever you want.
Can't say 3 syllables.
Hate away.
Gotta shorten it to 2.
Hate away.
Yeah. What's going on, AB?
What's up, AB? Thanks, William. With the I just saw the Kyle Allen assist. Thanks for that.
You might be right. Yeah, we might be looking back on this and in 5 years from now and being like, yo, remember when Eli predicted that Mike White was gonna win 4 Super Bowls? Like, you know, like I don't know, man. Stranger things.
We're I mean,
but
yeah,
I would put my money on Mike White probably being one of those flash in the pan guys.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and in Dynasty, since you did say it was in Dynasty, wide receivers over running backs, if you're looking at the depth pieces just for your last roster spot, unless you actually absolutely need somebody just because shelf life.
Yeah. Let's see, what's it called? And switching to back to for P Diddy for the Dynasty situation with Benjamin, Diami Brown, Gronk, no Sermon. Nah, can't give up on Sermon yet. Corey Davis, no.
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson, no. I mean, like, no, I don't even want to say Diami Brown. I think he can
Benjamin
still develop.
Is worth the roster spot if you have the roster spot, but right now your whole team is better. Sorry, this is my last question. Who are your running backs? Who are your starters? Like, who are your guys that are like, these guys are definitely going in this week, and then these guys like might go in this week, but also could like also are on any given week. I wouldn't drop any of those guys.
I think I wouldn't drop any of those guys. My last question is like how and I assume based on these numbers you're fine as far as your starters are. So maybe Eno is best left for somebody else. I know maybe there's a guy who is targeting Eno, and if you don't pick him up, he will. But don't play that game.
And I'll reiterate, I mean, I'm expecting 5 to 10 touches for Eno moving forward. I'm not expecting a ton. We're probably looking at, at best the stat line that Donta Foreman put up this past week. 5 rushes, but he over 6 yards.
Yeah, maybe a little better. Maybe a little more. Catch a couple passes.
Yeah, a little more work. But I mean, we're looking at minimal work here. So don't go crazy over Benjamin.
Maybe
he does have upside as the RB1 play for week 10 or the RB2 play for week 10 in that offense.
James freaking Conner RB1 rest of season. What the hell?
Who would have thought?
Which is kind of our segue to our next talking point.
Yep.
William said, if.
What do you think on James Conner? Missed a big opportunity to own him in one of my leagues. Would have had him and
we would have absolutely. When we talked about
we would have advocated that.
When we talked about this, I guarantee it was like, nah, hold Davis, hold Gibson.
And it was a great year for 0 RB. And
go.
And I usually love going 0 RB, and I picked all the wrong running backs, though. That's the
I
problem.
don't like. I'm not a
0 RB because it's really hard to figure out who those 0 RB running backs are going to be.
Right, that's the thing. You got to
bet on it. It was a great year for it. You had your Elijah Mitchells and your Michael Carters and your James Connors, and you had all these running backs that got drafted late really do well. Just Alex Collins is playing.
Even
for a
like
bunch of weeks.
even like Darrell Henderson was a fifth. Darrell Henderson was probably a 5th rounder by the time of 2021.
Out here being an RB1 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, these are waiver claim pickups like still, Kareem Hunt.
You're not
the Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette.
But
Darrell
if you
Henderson.
Go 0 RB, are more willing to churn your
even Alexander Madison.
Drafting studs. If you drafted CMC and Saquon, and Chris Carson. 1, 2, 3 in your leagues and went RB heavy. You're wishing you went 0 RB. So that's a great point, William Risky. Great point. It was.
Yeah, I mean, so I guarantee we advised not trading for James Conner. I was probably a bigger advocate against James Conner. I was not feeling it this year, and I will take the loss on that. So that's on me. Sometimes you identify a player and not a situation, and that was an oversight on my part.
I don't think it was an
Connor
oversight.
was done. Thought Connor was done following
his oversight, man. I think it's an outlier.
Could be. Connor didn't look good in his last year in Pittsburgh. Coming to Arizona with Chase Edmonds already there.
Well, you already said it. It's opportunity in the situation that he's in over the player themselves.
Right, and
if
so
we're betting on the player, you made the right choice by saying you should be selling James Conner. That you're not a fan of James Conner this year. If you're talking about the player, you made the right decision. If you're talking about the situation, that's something we got to take into account now. That the Arizona running back situation, it might be the best valuable outside of Tennessee in the league and Cleveland in the league. It just might be.
Yeah. So oversight or maybe not, just a miss. I missed on that one. So not good advice. Not that I'm not totally throwing in the towel on Gibson for the rest of the season, but obviously Connor looks like he's got RB1 potential for the stretch run, if not for longer.
Now, if I was to turn back the clock, obviously I would have picked up some more James Conner, but I don't.
Yep.
I don't regret going the way that I went on James Conner.
I have a little bit of him, but not that much at all.
80 to 90% of the time, 90% of the time, you want the pass catching back in a given offense, not the first and second down run up the middle guy. It just so happens that they're in the red zone all the time, so that run up the middle for 2 yards is a touchdown. So okay.
Sometimes it makes sense to just target good offenses.
Yeah. Learned our lesson with that one, I guess, for what it's worth. But I would still, I still stand by the principles of what we were going for.
P. Diddy, we got a super from P. Diddy. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you,
appreciate that.
Cordarrelle Patterson and Mitchell are my starters. It's a 10-team dynasty. Naheem Hines and Sonny Michel are available too.
Okay, got it. So, all right. So waivers are a little deeper in this dynasty league. So we're not talking about 30-man rosters here. We're talking about maybe like a 12-team roster, or sorry, like a 15-man roster, something like that. It's a little thinner. Waivers are a little bit closer to redraft in that regard.
I wouldn't be playing 90 Hines over Patterson or Mitchell, but if you can pick up,
I would pick up Hines and Sonny Michel over Eno Benjamin.
Yep.
So yeah, Eno is down the list. P. Diddy. I like Sony, but I think in this situation he can be safely left on the wire if you're not the Henderson owner. If you don't have Henderson, Sonny Michel is not as enticing. But to that point, if Henderson did get hurt and you have the most fob,
Naheem Hines is not the one-for-one replacement for Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, but Sonny Michel is for Henderson. And if you have the most fob,
Sonny Michel get 20 touches in a game.
That's a situation that you can kind of wait on just in case. So Sony would be the pick, like the guy to try to hang on to. So, like with these types of names on your wire, does it then make sense to cut a guy like Dyami Brown? I know it's dynasty, but these are deeper waivers than say.
I'm not cutting Dyami Brown for Sony Michel. No, I'm not cutting a rookie wide receiver in a lost year for pretty much the entire offense for a guy that, in case of injury, would be the number one back in a great offense. But again, that's accounting for injury. I'm not willing to do that for Dyami Brown because this is dynasty, and I believe he's like 23. So no.
He's young. Sonny Michel is older and is a backup and has a bad knee himself. So, and same deal with Hines.
Now, Sermon is 23. Sonny Michel is 25. Sermon, we know if the backs ahead of him get injured, he's like the last resort of last resort.
He is the last resort.
And they continue to get healthier each week. And now Jeff Wilson's going to be back in the fold. Jermichael Hasty's ready.
Michael Hasty's playing
Elijah
over.
Mitchell.
Hasty's over Sermon right now.
So Trey Sermon, if I was to drop, it's crazy to think that I would be advocating keeping De'Ami Brown but dropping Trey Sermon. But if you,
it's not that crazy. He's not doing anything.
But if you're by that logic, I would rather have Sony Michel on my team in case Henderson went down than Trey Sermon on my team in case Elijah Mitchell
went down.
Hasty, and Jeff Wilson.
And Jeff Wilson.
And even then, they're willing to pay to play Jaquez Patrick and Kerryon Johnson over Trey Sermon at points this season too. So it's like.
So Sermon's the guy that you would drop for
crazy.
Sony Michel.
For Sony Michel, yeah, it's crazy, but yes.
Is there anybody since it's a dynasty league, P. Diddy? Could you this will be the final thing I say here? Could you float Sermon? You're gonna get pennies on the dollar, but could you float Sermon for maybe a low end draft pick, and then free up the roster spot to grab the running back that you want, so that you're not losing Sermon for nothing? If you're gonna drop him anyway, see if you can get a 3rd round pick for him.
Yeah.
4th round pick for him. So maybe try to dangle Sermon. Try to trade Sermon, P. Diddy. You may not get any offers. Is there a 49ers homer in your league by any chance? Or just anybody who liked Sermon coming into the season. Maybe you liked Sermon coming into the season, obviously, because you have him on your roster. But if there's any way you can maybe dangle him for a draft pick, free up a roster spot, and now you can go pick up Sony Michel. I'd feel okay about that. I don't feel, you don't feel great about losing a 23-year-old running back for cheaper than you got him. But I mean, man, to say it hasn't worked out so far is an understatement.
Yeah, and in Sony Michel, you're getting a 1-for-1 replacement as a handcuff for one of the most valuable roles in all of fantasy football right now.
Yeah,
he could be RB1 for the Rams. So. Yeah.
In that beautiful playoff schedule that I just highlighted.
No situation in which I see San Francisco's #1 running back being Trey Sermon and that being profitable for your fantasy team.
Not
only does he have to supplant 3 other backs who they like more, he then has to produce on the field, which he hasn't all season when he's been given those touches. So.
Yep.
Yeah, William. I might have to go up. I'm just seeing.
Jason's got the next question.
And
best waiver wire pickups
in Dynasty throughout the years. A few of mine are Justin Forsett. Oh, whoa, Justin Forsett. Justin Forsett.
There's a name.
All right, AJ Dillon, Mooney, Gage.
No. Kelsey. You picked Kelsey.
Kelsey Balls Mooney. Sorry, I
picked up Kelsey on waivers.
Read AB's comment below it. Oops.
That's wild.
That is wild.
That's freaking wild. So here's the thing. We've actually only just started dipping into Dynasty a couple of years ago.
2 years ago. This is our second year in the one Dynasty league that we started.
So yeah, we've got a couple of leagues now that are Dynasty, but we haven't quite gotten long in the tooth yet. I mean, I guess I'll say my best draft pick right now is probably Elijah Mitchell.
I'll say last year I picked up Mike Davis right before the season because I saw that he was the RB2 for the Panthers, and I thought, maybe a situation like what we just talked about with Henderson and Sony happens, and he steps into the role. It doesn't look to be anybody behind him. Lo and behold, that does end up happening. So I will say 2020 Mike Davis.
Yeah, there you go.
In the first year of Dynasty was my best pickup in the first year of Dynasty. I missed out on Gaskin. Gaskin would have been a good pickup last year. I think the pickup this year was Cordarrelle Patterson, but neither of us picked him up in Dynasty. But he was a guy that was probably on your waiver wire at some point, even in Dynasty. So that's the pickup this year. That's the league winner on the wire this year. But yeah, we haven't been playing it long enough to have a list as long as yours. Hopefully we're not quite there yet, but we're working on it. But I guess mine would just be I
I got Elijah Mitchell like in the middle of the 3rd round. I feel pretty good about that. But that's not a pickup. That's not a waiver pickup. That's
I'm
just
trying to run through my head if there were any other pickups that have been impactful.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
We're getting there.
Yeah, I don't think so. But, that takes time too.
Yes, it
How
does.
long have you been playing Dynasty, Jason?
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. AB, who's a better prospective pickup? Nyheim Hines, AJ Dillon, Mooney, or Gage?
Dillon.
Yep, for the same reason as Sony.
Yeah, but like Dillon has more of a role than Sony right now, even with a healthy Aaron Jones.
Yeah, AJ Dillon's more Tony Pollard than Sony Michel. He has a role, and then if the number one goes down, then he has the RB1 role.
Yeah.
Possibly. He's more of a
Dillon. I mean, I would say Dillon, then Mooney, then it's a kind of toss up between Hines and Gage.
And I'd go Hines. I
think I'd slightly go Hines. Gage came to life a little bit this week.
Olamide. It's Olamide season, bro.
Yeah.
Olamide.
It's Zakiya season. Shut up.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, tomato. Yeah, AJ Dillon. Could his role diminish a little bit with a healthy Aaron Rodgers and a healthy Devonta Adams? Yeah, maybe. But they're giving him work, even with healthy, a healthy Rodgers, a healthy Adams. Like Dillon was consistently getting work.
You're getting a guy you can spot start, and you're getting a guy who's also a handcuff to a huge.
Yeah, you can flex.
So
you can flex AJ Dillon when Aaron Jones is healthy. So Dillon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dillon should be rostered. Follows up with Gage available on waivers. So 2 back-to-back Gage questions.
Let's see.
Above. I mean, yeah, that's a good pickup for an end of the roster guy at wide receiver.
Would you drop Laviska Shenault for him or Marquez Callaway for him?
No. But didn't you say you had Jeff Wilson? Where's?
No. I think that was something else.
Yeah, Ahmed. You have Salvin Ahmed. You can drop Salvin Ahmed.
Yeah. You can drop Ahmed. Yeah, for Gage. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, and then you
I'm
add
okay
him
with
at
that.
the end of Callaway, and then your wide receiver core looks a little better.
Yep. I'm good with that.
Yep.
Good with that.
But I'd stand by we're trying to work a trade in there to see if you can flip somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Theo, is Eno worth a pickup? How much fab? Yeah, we already went over that a little bit. How much fab, though? What percentage of fab would you spend on Eno? 5%? 10%?
Yeah, I guess who's at the end of your roster that you would be considering to dropping for Eno? And then, I mean, again, if waivers are thin, in like a 20-man roster, 25-man roster, whatever it is, 30-man roster, well, in that situation, Eno's probably rostered. So, I mean, as far as fob, I mean, just off the top of my head, without without taking a look at it, just maybe given who might be else be available, 10-15% of your budget.
Yeah, more than 5, I guess.
Yeah, 10 to 15, depending on the need, depending on the player that you could drop.
Out for 4 to 6 weeks with the high ankle sprain.
Right. Yeah. Give him a look.
So
give him a look.
Yeah. 15% of fab sounds decent to me.
Give him a look.
Yeah.
Jason got Hurts last year on waivers too. That's pretty damn good. I mean, that was our start. That was our startup year. I got Hurts for 5.
When did you get Hurts? Did you get him in the draft?
I got him in the auction, or we did an auction with a $400 budget, and I got him for $5. So I'll take that. He's worth more than that now. So I'll take that.
William, wouldn't you agree that a part of a 0 RB is being on the waiver wire? Yeah.
I guess I guess I default went to the draft, but yeah, yes, working the wire, grabbing an Elijah Mitchell. Yeah, that is part of 0 RB, because if you go 0 RB, you're way more likely to plunge on an Elijah Mitchell. Whereas if you went robust RB at the top, you probably didn't even look at him.
Yeah, so, you were probably I'm good at running back.
I'm good. I have my first round pick running back.
And then
right. Right. I have my first round pick running back. I have my second round pick running back, and then maybe one in the 4th or the 5th. Like a Miles Sanders, like a Josh Jacobs, like a Chris Carson, like a David Montgomery. You're like, I'm good. I don't need Elijah Mitchell. So you're right. You are correct.
Yep. But yeah, no, nobody saw Edmonds going down. We were all in on.
Yeah,
Edmonds.
Can't predict
we were
injury,
all in on
but
Edmonds.
it happens.
Talented pass catching back for one of the best offenses in the league, but we're all in on Edmonds. But what can you do?
Yeah.
The secret to knowing when to start Hines is when Mac is declared a healthy start before the game.
Well, I mean, I guess, Hines plays a very specific role, and I think in that regard, he's ahead of Mac.
It also helps when T.Y. Hilton isn't playing and their second wide receiver is Ashton Doolin. Shout out to Ashton Doolin.
Shout out to
Ashton Doolin. But that does help Nyheim Hines with picking
Campbell's
up
out for the year. Yeah.
Some more work there. I don't expect it to be a Nyheim Hines game every single time Marlon Mack is a healthy scratch. Obviously, that's a better bet for him to be used, but I think it works even more in his favor when a lot of those other important offensive pieces aren't in the mix as well.
Mm-hmm.
Shane Tuck dropped Landry for Bateman. Rank these tight ends in order: Knox, Thomas, Ertz, Freiermuth.
Landry dudded this week, right? But I don't think I would drop him just because he should be the wide receiver 1. I mean, the argument in Bateman's favor is he's not the team's wide receiver 1. That's wide receiver 1 rest of season Hollywood Brown. Ayo. But Bateman's on the much better passing offense. Much better. I can say much better offense overall in general.
No, you can say both. Yeah.
Yeah, better. Maybe not much better, but better. Better offense overall in general. Landry is his team's wide receiver 1, probably most weeks. And I know Donovan Peoples-Jones is on a bit of a run recently. But Landry's still a guy that Baker has developed chemistry with. So I'm not sure I'd drop Landry. Unless you're like super deep at wide receiver and you want.
Landry's the heart and soul of that team. He's not coming off the field.
The offense maybe.
You know what I mean.
I just want to you said team. I'm like, well, I think that's Myles Garrett. But yes, for the offense, yeah.
Helmet swinging Myles.
He's gonna be the defensive player of the year this year, or he should be. Helmet swinging or no helmet swinging.
I would not drop Landry for Bateman. I like Bateman.
I don't think so, but I love the idea. I love the idea of trying to get Bateman if you can.
Who else do you got?
Yeah, who else you got? And then for the tight ends, Knox 1. I'll give the benefit to a healthy Logan Thomas over Freiermuth for now, but it's close. And then Ertz.
Agreed.
But it's like the margin is closing fast between Thomas and Freiermuth. Like, it's not 2-3, it's 2A, 2B. But I would put a healthy Knox, like a healthy, not broken hand Dawson Knox, number 1.
Yes.
Freiermuth's climbing fast, man. At least for the rest of this season. For Dynasty, we're going to have to see what happens when Noodle Arm Ben Roethlisberger moves on. But Freiermuth is proving to be a weapon. And the Steelers, the Steelers have a history.
2B for me yet.
It's getting there.
I don't think
Logan Thomas is on a and maybe not much worse offense. Ben Roethlisberger's not it anymore, but Freiermuth dominated the most difficult matchup in the NFL last night.
That is true, and 2 touchdowns is crazy.
I know Khalil Mack didn't play for the Bears, but they still but to your point on Sunday, we talked about this, and I was in agreement with you at the time because I do like looking at matchups, but like the Bears were by far, by multiple points, the most difficult matchup in the league for tight ends, and Freiermuth as a rookie dusted them.
True.
I think it's a 2A, 2B. So Knox, Thomas Freiermuth, but I'll still put Thomas ahead of him.
Thomas
and
was the tight end 3 for a whole season.
Yeah,
look at what Ricky Seals-Jones has done without Thomas there in his absence. He was basically a mid-tier RB tight end 1 for the duration of the time that Logan Thomas was out. Logan Thomas is clearly better than Ricky Seals-Jones. I'm just not willing to put Freiermuth after a really hot game against a tough matchup. I will give him that. And then a string of productive games above somebody who's been the TE3 on a whole season and is only ranked as low as he is right now because of injury. So I'm not willing to do that yet, but the order stands as correct. It's just Freiermuth and Thomas are not as close for me. I think that's reacting a little bit too much to the most recent game.
Well, I'm going to react.
I know. That's what you do. Mac Jones, yo, what's going on, bro?
Sure.
Heard some thoughts on Sony Michel.
Mac Jones plays quarterback for the Patriots.
Oops.
You did.
Football brain.
It's okay.
Mac Young.
That's what I catch. That's catch you. What's up, Mac?
But none for Dynasty.
Thoughts on Sony Michel, but none for Dynasty.
PPR, Carlos Hyde, Hines, Eno, Benjamin, Sony Michel, or Devonta Freeman. Who do you got?
I mean, if you're in win now mode,
Freeman and Mitchell.
If you're in win now mode, Devonta Freeman. If you're like, if you don't think you're gonna, if you're like looking at your roster this year, if you're looking at this year, like maybe you're not a title contender, then not Devonta Freeman. But if you are, he's number 1. And then
I think it's Freeman.
He threw Ramondre Stevenson in the mix as well. Would you put Ramondre 2 for dynasty purposes, maybe over those guys, over Freeman, just because of like the youth and the potential, or would you put Sony Michel over him?
If you're winning,
I think I put Sony Michel up there.
Sony Michel, Devonta Freeman. If you're looking to the future, and you're not competing at all this season, it's not Sony Michel or Devonta Freeman. Then
it's
in
Ramondre.
That situation, you're going Ramondre and probably either Hines or Eno.
I would say Hines.
Probably Hines,
but
because Hines is still young too. I believe he's only 25, and
he's not old.
That has accumulated a lot of touches.
Right.
That's the way I would.
But has a much more clear role than Eno does, like moving forward. Hines does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's start speeding this up a little bit. We're about to hit the 2-hour mark, and we do have a meeting to have after this, because we got to talk business. We're gonna see about expanding this little venture we have going here, and
see what we can do to like improve things for you guys as far as content and the like.
Yep. So let's start moving through the chat a little bit quicker here.
Okay.
I think we got to the rest of Mac Jones's question.
Yeah. Mac Jones, you did it again.
William Risky, James Robinson was a great free agent pickup for me last year.
Oh, nice. So last year.
Metcalf, 12 team, yeah.
Last year, that's a great move. Yep. That's beautiful.
That was
James Robinson. Yep.
I picked him up in the keeper league. It doesn't quite count as a dynasty pickup for me, but I did pick up James Robinson last year, and then quickly shipped him off for DeAndre Hopkins.
You flipped him for DeAndre Hopkins. That looked kind of lopsided at the time, but turned out not to be.
I think all things considered.
Yeah, very much so. James Robinson was like a top 7 running back last year in pretty much like every format.
Yep.
So
Jason, you really liked Trey Sermon pre-fantasy draft and had the opportunity to get him or either Tony at 109 and chose Tony. Sermon went 205. But
smart.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Tony
you could definitely get him for not a second round pick.
Tony in the third.
You did?
Yeah. First pick of the third draft, I picked Kadarius Toney.
I blame the fact that I didn't have
and my 4th round pick for Cam Akers.
Oh, somebody sold real low on Cam Akers. Dang.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, Sermon should be. I mean, you won't need to ask for him. You won't need to like dangle a 2nd round pick to see if you can get him like third at the highest.
A future third.
Third at the highest. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But would you even want him on your team?
I'm
not really even advocating for getting him on your fantasy squad as depth.
Here's the situation where, and you're rolling the dice if this happens. Like, you're banking on Raheem Mostert walks next year, and no, I think that's the only back they have who is only on a 1-year deal, or is in the last year of his contract. I'm not sure I don't know Jeff Wilson's contract situation, but obviously Mitchell and Sermon are on a multi-year deals, and to that point, Hasty is at the point where he could be probably dropped anytime if they felt like they wanted to, but he's stuck around to this point, so the JaMychal Hasty fan club lives on. But yeah, I mean, late 3rd round pick for Sermon, like, sure. If you think Mostert's gone next year and maybe Sermon like improves and matures a little bit next year, but yeah, I'm not like dying to do it.
We've seen situations where star running backs have struggled their first year, made changes in their offseason, whether it's to work out your body, health, conditioning,
like diet, whatever,
or just being dialed in. And then we've seen Le'Veon Bell turn into the best fantasy back over the stretch of 5 seasons, after largely being thrown by the wayside because he wasn't taking
Bell contribute. I mean, a guy like that.
I don't want to get too deep into it because we do want to continue to move on to other questions.
Yeah,
you have to.
I'm not crazy trying to acquire Sermon, but if you can do it for pennies, then like sure.
And only if you have the roster space. If you're in one of those dynasty leagues with not as many roster spots.
Right. If you determine it's not worth the roster space, then
I feel like Sermon is a detriment to your roster if you have a smaller amount of roster spots. Because they matter. So don't want to waste them with people who aren't going to be putting up points for you.
Yep.
And Savvy, what's going on? Would you
what's
drop
up, and Savvy?
For Ayuk, Bateman, or Gallup need potential upside come playoff time?
Ayuk. I think at this point it's safe to say he's a little bit more back on the radar.
You would drop Tony for Ayuk over Bateman, considering you're high on Bateman? Or
I am high on Bateman, but if Ayuk is available, I think
come playoff time. So you're counting Ayuk in the fantasy playoffs over Bateman or Gallup.
He looks like he's finally getting reintegrated in the offense. Kyle Shanahan looks like he's finally playing him over guys like Trent Sherfield and Mohamed Sanu. Ayuk should have never been drafted in the 4th or 5th round of drafts, but I think he would be my call.
Okay.
I think that would be my call.
He's shown the greatest ceiling at most recently. Gallup had a comparable season to what Ayuk did last season, but he's a few more years removed from it and obviously plays with more.
Let's put it this way. Ayuk is officially back on being considered usable. Past 2 weeks, he's got 15 total targets, 8 last week, 7 the week before. Only cleared 4 for 45 in week 8, but that's still usage. That's still involvement. I would probably say Ayuk. The Niners have a great second half schedule coming up. They get Jackson, tough matchup against the Rams this week, but I don't think Ayuk will see Jalen Ramsey. They get Jacksonville, they get Minnesota, they get Seattle, they get Cincinnati's a little tougher. They get Atlanta, Tennessee, Houston. It's a great second half schedule for Brandon Ayuk.
Okay, there you go.
I would say Ayuk. Tony's not a must-hold at this point if you want to get a veteran for a playoff run in a 10 or 12 team league.
Jason, you started in 2013. Okay. Yeah, I started in college too. I think
I
started around when we started too. A little bit.
That's when
later,
our home what's considered now my home league.
Is that when you joined? Because
I think
20 before you.
I think 2010. Yeah. My first league was 04. My freshman year of high school was when I played redraft for the first time. Was my freshman year of high school.
Was 2010.
Oh, well then maybe I joined 2011, 2012, something like that.
Yeah, we had 2 years before I think you joined.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
But
then it became.
I drafted Brady. Yeah, you drafted Brady at the time. Drafted Brady at the time, and all he did is lasted 9 more years. So, congratulations on that, man.
Yeah. Who's laughing now, right?
Right.
Davis and Mitchell have been good pickups. Yep.
Yeah.
Picked up Gabe Davis.
Hopefully we have more. Hopefully we have more good ones later.
Second rounder, dude. Yeah, if I was in your league, I would have been the guy that you sold him to.
John would have been the dude. John would have been the dude that would have given you a second round pick.
Yep.
I liked Gabe Davis coming into the offseason too, though.
I still do.
It could still come together for him if Emmanuel Sanders walks, if Cole Beasley eventually walks. It could still come together for him.
I don't think that's a question of if. I think that's when. I don't think Emmanuel Sanders is 34. Cole Beasley's going to be 32. Both of them are going to walk within the next 2 seasons. At which case, it's going to be Gabe Davis as the RB2, and Stephon Diggs is going to be 29. So yeah. Gabe Davis.
They could still, they could just sign somebody else or draft somebody else, but Davis's chances for playing time go up next year.
Now, see if since you sold him for a second rounder, you can pick him up for a third rounder.
Get him back for a third rounder.
Do it.
That's playing 3D chess right there.
Theo Von Miller, I got Hurts in the 4th round dynasty draft.
There you go.
Bro.
There
and
you
go.
I
would say I would drop Zay Jones for Eno. Yeah, I would do that too.
I'm going with that. I'm good with that.
Yahoo Fantasy officially calls him Hendo. Get out of here, dude.
Smart.
Nick, you should
work
for them. There you go.
I just got Yahoo just gained some brownie points over here for me. Hendo.
Go and draft Hendo and talk about. Yeah.
I am gonna draft Hendo. I'm gonna draft Hendo everywhere next year.
Whatever. Yeah,
that's not true.
James Robinson is one of the best waiver ads.
That's it. That's an all-timer. I mean, he went from undrafted free agent
ETN,
to RB7.
I still think he is. I don't think
makes no sense.
Yeah,
makes no sense.
I still think James Robinson is one of the best waiver ads, even with ETN. And anybody who bought James Robinson after the ETN news as a buy low, good for you. I'm patting myself on the back because I did that. Elau,
good job. Elau, thanks for stopping by, man.
Just for everybody who is listening right now, on Saturday, Nick will be traveling. Right?
I should be available. I'm
going to be at Friendsgiving, so I'm not going to be able to be.
All right. I'll try to run. I can try to run this.
Yeah, we'll see if we can make that work for you guys.
We'll see if we can make the Saturday. Yeah, I can.
We'll be here Sunday morning, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope. So yeah, just letting you guys know that, because I wasn't sure how we were gonna handle Saturday.
There we go. We'll figure out Saturday. We'll figure it out.
Jason, his owner in my league was devastated.
With the ETN owner,
Mine too, and then I pounced on James Robinson and picked him up for
not that much.
Actually, now looking back at it, I think I traded him like James Conner. In a dynasty league, it still stands. I'll hold to it.
There you go.
Joe Mac, we won't publicize that.
It's okay.
Hey, yo.
We are too.
Keep it going.
Not right now though.
I'm high on James Robinson.
He said he didn't mean dynasty. So if you didn't mean dynasty, if you mean season long, then yeah, Devonta and Sony Michel.
And Savvy. Brissett, CD, AJ Brown, Edmonds, Dalvin Cook, Gesicki, Waddle, Sanders combined for the same amount of TDs as my opponents. Waiver pickups, Pat defense.
Wow.
Worst points against by 123 points.
Who was the quarterback? I'm just curious. Who's the quarterback you went into the season with? But yeah, that team, that's a squad that just collectively didn't do anything. Did you pick up Brissett
just because Tua went
down? Was it that? I don't know.
I mean, it looks on the surface like a decent squad. I know things haven't gone.
Hasn't gone totally as planned. I mean, AJ Brown still has wide receiver 1 upside. Chase Edmonds is hurt. Dalvin Cook, you're still firing up. Gesicki's been fine. Waddle's been fine.
You haven't been able to play your full set of offensive weapons week in, week out.
Yeah, guys have been in and out of the lineup.
Weeks. AJ Brown was banged up for a few weeks. Sanders was, if that's Miles Sanders, I believe he was banged up for a few weeks. If that's Emmanuel, then he hasn't. But
yeah.
Your quarterback, obviously, you're dealing with a few injuries, so yeah, it's just rough, bro. It's just rough. But I mean, I like those. If I was coming into the season with that roster, I would
feel good about those pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you picked him up about 3 days before Fournette was released. A big-time league winner. Yeah, James Robinson.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Big-time league winner.
That's
William,
a game changer.
Freiermuth, after hearing all y'all talk. Hey, thanks for listening. Should I move Pitts and try to upgrade at running back? I have Devonta, Gaskin at the moment. No, I would move Freiermuth. I wouldn't be moving Pitts.
Saquon coming back. Do you try to sell high on Freiermuth coming off a 2-touchdown game?
Absolutely. You don't move Pitts right now.
But if your league mates are, if they're savvy enough, they might just be like, no, I'm not giving a whole lot for a guy based off one game. Pitts would probably still net you a good return, but like if you get Saquon coming back and Javonte Williams, you're okay there. But yeah, maybe try to start with Freiermuth. But I definitely don't blame you for trying to want to upgrade at running back. But maybe start with Freiermuth, try to sell high off the 2-touchdown game. If nobody bites, but they're willing to give you, an RB. I mean, I would need a good RB2 for Pitts. But see if they'll bite on Freiermuth first.
I mean, I might need more than a decent RB2 for Pitts.
I just don't know. Obviously things.
So much work. Over the rest of the season with Ridley out.
Yeah, with no Ridley, right? Pitts is like, Pitts asking price went up. It went up, no doubt.
I mean, you're asking for a low end a guy in that RB1 borderline if you're selling Pitts. And speaking of Ridley, AB says, literally just now, got a guy offered me Ridley for Jacoby Myers. Is this fool's gold, or is there a chance Ridley comes back?
It's not.
Back, I wouldn't make that move.
You would not make that move? Who are your other? My question, I would ask, who are your other wide receivers? Because if you feel like you're set at wide receivers, I don't hate that gamble. Could be fool's gold, but Jacoby Myers is not a must hold. He's just not. We were talking about him as a drop candidate.
Are you trading away Ridley, or are you trading away Jacoby Myers?
You got offered him Ridley.
Myers?
No. Yeah, AB was offered Ridley for Jacoby Myers.
Oh, I'd do that in a second.
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm like, Jacoby Myers is not a must hold.
What's his ceiling? Like 5-6 catches for 70 yards, maybe a touchdown, but he hasn't scored a touchdown this entire season.
He literally his entire career.
Yeah, bro, Ridley.
Yeah, I think that's a fine gamble to take if you feel like you're okay at wide receiver, which I got to imagine you are. Because you can't be starting Jacoby Myers, but yeah, if you're starting Jacoby Myers, then that's kind of not great. But you could probably find a guy on the wire. Yeah, I would do that. I would roll the dice. Does Ridley come back? Not ready to predict that. Is just Jacoby Myers 1-for-1 enough for me to roll the dice? Yeah.
Yep. Jason, I'm thinking super long term with Sermon, but I agree he's super risky. Yep, super
risky. The thing about Sermon, I think, is I think he does a lot of little things well, but he's not doesn't do any one thing outstanding, and that's going to hold him back at the NFL level.
I also think Shanahan just doghouses guys. I think that's just something.
He thinks he's smarter than everybody else.
Yep.
So,
maybe not.
Sorry, Niners fans.
He is not the best personnel manager.
Maybe he's not an offensive genius.
He is a great offensive strategist. He's just might not be a head coach.
All right, fine.
Jason drafted Madison and Dillon too. If another
RB
moves on, he gets traded. He looks good. Yeah, man. Madison and Dillon are both kind of in that mold where, Dillon gets more work standalone, even if the RB1 in his offense is playing. But if the RB1 for either of them is not playing, they become RB1s. So I like owning them. I like owning them in all.
Yeah, I like having those guys. I had Madison. I didn't have Dillon as much as a deep sleeper coming into the season as far as targets, but I did have Madison. Anytime Dalvin Cook goes down, he's auto RB1. At least as far as work. But.
And yeah, man, I know a lot of Dawson Knox's or a lot of the Gabe Davis's work went to Dawson Knox, but I think
Gabe
more
Davis
of it
isn't
went
dead.
to Emmanuel Sanders. I think
Yeah.
a lot of his work went to Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders was 11th in air yards through 8 weeks, going into week 9. I think that was Gabe Davis's projected workload. I mean, not projected workload, but that was the spot he was going to be taking. And we all projected coming into the offseason and then coming into the season. Nobody was expecting Emmanuel Sanders to be that guy, and he has been. We started this live stream talking about being a year too early on Troutman, possibly a year too early on Bryan Edwards. I was absolutely a year too early on Gabe Davis, and I should have seen that based on the moves that the team made, because it's clear that the team wasn't ready to make that jump with him.
He had a bunch of touchdowns last year. It was, it looked like he would remain involved in a high-octane passing offense. The problem is Josh Allen has, I think, regressed some compared to last year.
And they've been more
maybe I didn't directly correlate that to fade Gabe Davis, but what can you do?
Yep. Iron Never Lies is going on. I wrote today in the YouTube comments about Hurts.
Yeah.
From a home trade, I think I will accept Hurt my RB situation this year. But
yeah.
maybe Devonta and AP will take over soon.
I was talking about this with Iron. So in Dynasty, he's talking about, like, do I trade Hurts and Henderson for Mahomes? And I think if you're able to absorb the hit you take at running back this year, yes, Mahomes is much more stable moving forward than Jalen Hurts.
Agreed. Theo, 15% of my fab would be roughly $6. I don't think that will land, Eno. No.
Okay.
I don't think that will.
Probably not. But I mean,
if you can go up to 15 fab.
If you can go up to like 12 to 15 fob, you're running a little bit thinner. Then you might be looking at, like, what is that, like, you might be down to like 75 fob bucks after the transaction if it goes through. But yeah, I mean, I think he's worth the ad over a Zay Jones if you can make it happen.
Yep. Signs Lies. Jamal Agnew. Is it safe to play him this week? Yeah, he's the wide receiver 1 right now for the Jags.
Marvin, I guess I'll give Marvin Jones the edge to that still, but I mean, the Jags get the Colts. The Colts are giving up lots of production to wide receivers this year.
Okay, he's the most utilized wide receiver.
He's the most
utilized. Last 3 weeks.
Yes.
Yes,
he's more than.
He might not be the wide receiver 1, but he's definitely the most utilized passing game offensive weapon over the past 3 weeks.
I think he's safe to use.
Yep.
This week. Yep, absolutely.
No one's biting on Freiermuth. Sometimes you gotta let that marinate a little bit. But
could you package Freiermuth with I would say Gaskin, but like that might not move the needle for anybody. No. To try to get a running back.
I mean, you see what you can get for Pitts and
yeah. See who's willing.
Comments to this video, and we'll try to help you out as the evening moves on and into tomorrow.
Maybe text the league, be like, all right, fine, like I'll call y'all's bluff and say Pitts is on the table. Let me know what you'll offer for him if you want him.
But do not be selling low on Pitts.
Yeah, but like get it. Yeah, we got to get a good running back if we're dealing Pitts.
Yep. AB, your other wide receivers are Justin Jefferson, Cooks, Claypool, Elijah Moore, Bateman, and I'd be taking Ridley. Yeah, I like that, bro.
Yeah, take Ridley.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yes.
Do it.
You're in the position to make a luxury move like that.
Yeah, you're fine to take that shot. Jacoby Myers doesn't move the needle for me, especially with you having Elijah Moore and Bateman. I'm playing both of those guys over Jacoby Myers until further notice.
Yeah, Jason, you're right. Ridley does have huge upside.
Huge upside. It might be 0. He might not come back this year, but Myers is a drop candidate anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm good with that move, AB.
And we have come to the end of the chat. Thank you for everybody has been
thanks for everybody who stuck around. Everybody who gave us a like, gave us some comments, stuck around. Always appreciate the engagement. Always appreciate you guys tuning in, taking time out of your night to come hang with us.
Hey, man, don't we all wish we had 75 fab?
Theo, sorry, I'm bad at math. This is why I'm not a math major. But okay, so in that case, like maybe $10. Like, maybe like $10. Dang, I really can't do math. Whatever. Don't judge me. Maybe like 10.
If you have 41, I'm still willing to use 15 of it on a running back that want to.
I was gonna say maybe 10 to 12,
how many
but
moves you project yourself to be making for the rest of the season. Do you look at your roster and think, as a dynasty team, I'm going to be making 6 more moves this team to turn me through the end of my roster, or do you think, this roster's pretty good. I think I can stand pat and continue to move within my roster instead of moving outside of my roster, and then. At which point, spending 1/3 of your fab, or even more, is not. It's not a terrible move, even if it is for a depth piece like Benjamin.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Depending on the composition of your roster, you have to consider it. But yeah, Jason, you have a good night too. Theo, you have a good
Jason,
night.
you too.
Thanks
everybody for stopping by and hanging with us tonight. Appreciate it.
And we will be posting about Saturday.
We'll keep everybody in the loop about Saturday. John's availability might be in question. I should be available. I will be traveling, but I should be back with plenty of time. But we'll get it figured out. We'll let everybody know what the plan is for Saturday as far as the start sit live stream. If for whatever reason we can't pull it off, or it's just not as effective as it could be, we'll definitely be up on Sunday. But everybody have a good night. Everybody have a good week. Hopefully waivers go well. And we'll see you this weekend.
Yes, sir.